Hello, welcome to this week's Midweek Geek. I'm currently here alone because Bear's getting coffee and Iman's otherwise engaged. Sounds like he's on a phone call or something. So it's just me at the moment, just me to say hello. But these two will join me in a bit. I know they will. And we might have a Saxious and an Elfbait joining in a bit as well. But the as always, the invite is there in the stream invites section of Discord. I'm joined by Halakar in chat. In fact, I can see the chat numbers going up as I speak, which is it's nice. It's nice people dropping by to say hello to little me. Hello, Wayne. How are you? Hello, Andy. How are you? How are you? Um, so I'm going to start by just talking about my gaming recently. Hello, Elfbait. Hello, Elfbait. What games have we played recently? Unfortunately, Merp had to be called off on Saturday due to players being unable to make it. But we played. Hello, you're here. We played OSE on Saturday afternoon in Gene's game and survived. I played some 5th edition on Monday. I'm in the game and we had a 1 character death and 4 knocked out and captured. So that proves the idea that 5th edition can't be lethal wrong. Either that or we were just crap. I think a bit of both. And I've been continuing to read through Expedition to the Barrier Peaks because I'll be running that on Friday.
But that has sci-fi in it.
I know. So that's part of the challenge for me to cope with it.
Okay, fair enough.
One thing I can say is it has been written with the assumption that you understand a little bit of sci-fi lingo.
Just
so
it's taken.
Hello, Kabuki. So it's taken me a little while to get through it. I'm thinking, what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay. Check the picture. Oh, that's what it looks like. I'm gonna.
Didn't you watch Doctor Who? Why are you being such an obstinate old coot?
I haven't watched Doctor Who since I was about 10 years old.
And it didn't imprint upon you?
Not really, no.
Fair enough.
I remember Daleks making funny noises. I did watch the first series of Star Trek when I was drunk about 2 o'clock in the morning when I was a student, but I don't remember any of it. It was shown on late night TV over here.
I'm not judging. Where the sci-fi came from.
From Star Trek? No.
I didn't. I mean, I became very apathetic.
Go ahead, sir.
I enjoyed the Star Wars films when I was a kid. And when Phantom Menace came out, I went to see it. And I just sat looking at it thinking, I'm just not enthused by this at all. Just wasn't enthused.
Well, it was pretty much just, trade disputes. So, Saxious had a big boner while he was watching it.
It just wasn't interesting.
Anyway, let's not dwell.
Okay. Anyway, so those have been my games recently. I also bought myself a new toy for my computer.
What'd you get? What'd you get?
I got a steering wheel and pedals, a posh steering wheel and pedals.
Okay, listen, I know you don't like sci-fi, but you can't drive your house using the computer, okay?
Hello, Mike. I like car games. I like cars. I'm a bit of a car nerd as well as a RPG nerd. So I recorded myself earlier taking my first ever laps with no assists on in a Formula Ford car around Brands Hatch circuit. And it's not pretty.
Oh, you're a big brave boy, aren't you?
So that video might be added to the channel soon if you want to watch a silly old man attempting to drive fast and failing and crashing a lot and swearing, because that's all it is. It's all it is.
Okay.
But no, it's one of those things. I'll have a separate section of my channel about that sort of stuff. So anyway, have you been gaming at all, Bear?
Well, I had taken July as what I love to call a a reading month where I was not running any games. I was just working on stuff, reading games, things like that, blah, 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 blah. And then we were coming back in August, full force, and I gave everybody the dates, and everybody said, yes, those dates are great. Don't worry about a thing. And every single game in the first half of August has had to be. Iman, what are you wrestling the microphone? What the hell, dude?
Sorry.
It sounds like he's moving house to the shed.
It does. It sounds like that, or he's having a struggle cuddle. Every single game date in the first 2 weeks of August has had to be rescheduled.
And hello, Cody. Hope you sort out your issues.
Yeah, seriously, Cody.
Yeah.
That sucks, brother.
Yeah, because we were due to play this Saturday, weren't we?
And,
sadly,
Cody's got something he's got to deal with. I've dealt with it myself, and it's a sucky, stressful situation to go through.
Yep. So,
Iman, what the hell are you doing to your mic, brother?
What? I don't know how much you guys can hear.
We can hear every bump and creak and
yes, we can.
that you're doing, sir.
I know why.
Share with the
Because when I
class.
load up StreamYard, it decides to not register my mic until I unplug it and plug it in again.
Well, that'll do it.
How is the audio quality now? Is it better?
You don't sound as strong, but we'd have less pipping and popping. So
This is how I'm supposed to sound. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I was thinking, how come you guys can hear all the background noise? You can't normally, and then it clicked. Oh, it's fucking StreamYard.
Yeah, StreamYard's picked up a different.
Halicar, what are you going on about with fucking Quebec? Like, I live in Quebec. I'm spent most of my life in Quebec. What are you going on about?
He's poking the bear. Hello, James.
Apparently. Hi, James. What's up, man?
Hello.
Anyway.
So we played Call of Cthulhu last night, didn't we, Iman? Didn't we?
Aye.
And they've just finished.
Twas the wrap up of the session.
Yeah, just finished in Vinkovci. But Andy's here, so I do want to show something. It's wonderful when you have a player who does this. There we go. Let me just zoom in on this a little.
His mad ramblings.
Yeah. This is Andy's notes as Harold, who has 0 sanity, and I'm letting him play and on with 0 sanity. And this is the sort of thing why his inner thoughts are to the side, written in red. I tell the others I'm going up to change, and put out. Oh, yeah, he types it while he's going, so sometimes it doesn't make sense. William asks if I want food. Steak. Blur, potatoes with everything. I head up to the room. Oliver follows me. Oliver is Manfred's character, carrying the shotgun he borrowed. Oliver comes with me into the room and we change for dinner. While he is attending to his ablutions, I secrete the dagger inside the torso of the simulacrum, and I unload the shotgun he had placed under his blanket. So he's unloading Oliver's shotgun because he doesn't trust him. And on the side he's put there his thoughts, but is the shotgun to protect us or to keep an eye on me?
My God.
He won't find it there. I think further down. At our room, Oliver listens at the door, then checks to see if it's still locked before entering. I follow. He retrieves the shotgun from beneath the blanket where he concealed it. I keep an eye on him and have my bag close at hand. His bag contains his implements that he uses to torture and execute cultists. And then
you mean crucify?
Crucify, basically, yes, and then gut. I strip the blankets from my bed and hand them over to Oliver. Open the window. Let the air in. Let the calls of the wind in. Let the voices on the air call to you. With Oliver asleep, I loop some of my ropes on the fittings above his bed.
No, this isn't fan fiction. This is
This is what
actually
is going on.
a little write-up. Yeah.
This is
madness.
This is a write-up of our Call of Cthulhu game, and Andy, who is here in chat, is these are his notes that he makes while he plays. It's really nice. I mean, he's got.
How many pages is the document?
183 pages so far.
Is that all? Oh, that's only slightly less than the book.
Yeah, it's about 7 months of campaign so far.
My God.
In fact, here he is,
Hey,
the
Andy.
madman himself.
Andy!
Good evening.
Hello.
Can you hear me okay? I'm not sure if this is working.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
sounds good.
Which
So,
mic
yes.
is it picking up? I have no idea. Anyway,
Would you like to
yes.
tell us about Harold, Andy?
Harold, he's such a lovely young man. He was traumatized a while ago when his boss, he's a journalist photographer, when his boss was found crucified upside down against the door of the newspaper and gutted. So he's decided that's how you have to treat cultists. He's only managed to do it once, but he's got all the accoutrements with him when he needs it. And he's not sure about any of the party now because they're all a bit. They start talking like he's not there, and they make jokes and things. So yes, there may be problems ahead.
This is why I'm letting him play
I'm
on
still
with
wondering
zero
what that
sanity.
setup was for. Was it for anyone who was eating porridge in the morning?
Sorry, the what? The what?
The setup in the room above Oliver's head
It was above Oliver's head.
wasn't for Oliver, was it?
I cannot say.
I thought it might have been for someone who's having porridge for breakfast in the morning, and you just that was what made you snap or
Well,
something.
that would have been one thing as well. But I mean, yeah, someone who brings a shotgun to bed with him because whatever reason, and yeah, Oliver's very suspect. I don't know if you've read what else I wrote in there, but Oliver's a cad.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's playing the field. He's promising something to a girl and then seems to be playing up with others. He's a bit of a cad. Don't trust him. Is he bringing them here? Is he the one who's telling the cult where we are? Because they keep finding us.
As you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, Oliver is Manfred's character, and he's really honest and polite, a real polite English gent. Couldn't be more nice and helpful.
Wow.
Oh dear.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. But no, this is what I like about Call of Cthulhu, because you don't expect how the party is going to develop as they go on, and who's going to develop what phobias, manias, and all that sort of thing, and how the players are going to lean into that side of it. And I rather like what Andy's doing with Harold. I think it's
Oh, it's fucking great. He's doing such a good job of role playing it.
But I added the red text section since we got to what's it called? I can't pronounce the bloody name of the place. But since he went Loop Fruit bonkers totally, and we arrived at the what's it called?
Linkovci.
Linkovci, yes. So it started then, and the wind talks to him because it does.
Yes. The wind speaks. That voice on the wind.
He understands that great old one. Yeah.
So there we go. I just thought I'd share one of the things that is happening in our Call of Cthulhu game. And
yeah, you have to excuse my TPings and mistoppings in there because I do literally type it as we go, and I need to go back through and edit certain things. So
don't worry. But it's all good. Anyone else played any other games? Friday, Iman, you played in Saxious' game again, didn't you?
Did I? Yeah, I did. It was really good.
Yeah, you did.
Despite
It
the
was
fact
heroic,
that
wasn't it?
My character Quantum Logic was getting shit from all angles just because he was trying to do what he thought was right.
That's all right. Hello, LSC channel. Shout out everyone from the Philippines. Hello, Philippines.
Hi, Philippines.
So Iman's been moonlighting with Saxious
I have.
on a Friday night. And Andy, have you run any?
Yeah, at our club on Thursday nights, we've been playing Charlotte's game, which is Otherworlds Season 6, which is we use Savage Worlds very loosely. We sometimes roll dice. And it's sort of an early 1900s alternate steampunk universe, which melds into other realms, and there are elves and various things. Yes. And he plays F4, Frederick Farnsworth. Oh God, I can't remember my own character's name, but he's upper class. He's suddenly come into this idea. Oh, people work to get money. What's that? So, and in earlier seasons, we did develop the urchin economy, because there's all these kids, little kids around on the street. So they are now being used as messengers and things like that. And they get a shiny sixpence when they're good and things.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah. I mean, I recently played a video game of Sherlock Holmes, and he uses the local urchins to get information and acquire things.
Yeah.
So it is an economy for them. Yes, the Baker Street Irregulars, indeed.
So we're playing that again tomorrow night. Hopefully, Charlotte's up in Yorkshire at the moment, so maybe a bit of a remote session. But then Friday, I'm running the first session of a little D&D thing with 3 players at work at lunchtime. And then in the evening, we're going to drive you mad. I mean, we're going to have a fun AD&D high-ish level session, aren't we?
We are, yes. At the moment, I'm not planning to stream the players. I'm planning to stream me.
Crying into the mic, yeah.
Crying into the microphone. I don't know whether it'll be interesting or not. There might be long periods of silence as I listen to them, but because I haven't advertised it to the players as a streamed game, so I don't think it'd be fair to stream them. But yeah, you'll see me behind the scenes trying to run one of the most complicated AD&D modules ever written.
And I stupidly said, "Oh, I'll be the MU. I've got 11 pages of bloody spells to go through."
Enjoy.
Granville Belly Hack. Yeah.
You're 11th level magic user, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So, there you go. Hello, Ralph. Hello, Manfred. Lots of people joining in tonight. Good to see you. So that's Friday. Saturday, I'd imagine we have OSE during the afternoon, which will probably be Gene again. And now that Bears game's not happening, I will probably run an OSE session in the evening. So that's
new or old, new or ongoing?
Ongoing.
Okay.
I've been running it once. I've been running it roughly once a month. But whenever the Codex Albana game doesn't happen, I'll run an impromptu
slot
session.
it in. Yeah, I'm so exhausted. Not exhausted, but I'm so off put by all the games getting postponed that I might actually just throw together a goddamn game at some point this weekend, just so I can bounce some goddamn dice.
Yes.
There. Thank you for all that wonderful heroic content you're providing. It is amazing.
Oh, my pleasure. No, it's your $5, but my pleasure.
I know.
Are you liking the new stuff with the more religious bent to it?
They were suddenly. Where the hell do they come from?
So basically, you have to remember this is set. The entirety of the Zenith universe is set in the 80s, right?
80s, yeah.
What was going on in America during the 80s?
Which would be the satanic panic and things. Yes.
So I was sitting around, I was thinking about it. I said, okay, what would a Christian superhero team be like, right? And I didn't want to attach them to any one denomination, so I created that whole idea of the preacher who's brought them together for his ministry of light and all this thing. And then I was trying to come up with the villains, and at first I called them Hell 7, and then my brain just went 7 for Satan, and I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. I have to do that. And I've just been having so much fun creating them and getting them posted up. It's really a good time.
I like Hell 7 because it reminds me of that all-girl punk band L7 from the 90s.
That's the thing. My brain was it was L7. I was like, no, what am I doing? No. And then 7 for Satan hit me, and I'm like, ooh.
Who who of course were famous for various antics, one of which I was at. Reading, 1992, the tampon incident. I witnessed it.
Oh my goodness! I like their song "Shove." They use it in the Tank Girl soundtrack. It's quite nice.
Yes, Shit List is a good track. But one More Thing is my favourite track. But either that or Everglade. Those are my two favourite tracks by them. And there's Fast and Frightening, which is good as well. But
I don't know the one.
I think this should be should be shortened. Not just We Sometimes Roll Dice, but how about like WSR? We Sometimes Roll. Sounds a lot like TSR, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's cute.
And it sounds like me.
Yeah.
Well, we used to have a gaming group that met up and down the country back in the day, before certain AD&D things went mad. So this is back in the 80s, 90s. We were the FLWS, Famous Last Word Society.
Oh, nice. My home table group that meets every 2 weeks are the Fortnights. FORTKNIGHTS, the Fortnights, because they get together every 2 weeks.
Pretty good, actually. I like that.
Yeah, it doesn't play well in North America because nobody uses Fortnite anymore over here,
Yeah, keep rubbing it in, John. I get it.
I went to Reading in 91 and 92. Nirvana played both times.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. Yeah, I wasn't even alive to.
My buddies saw fucking Pink Floyd live in Venice when they did that show there in the water. So it happens. We got to see cool shit back in the day. I saw Tin Machine when no one knew who the fuck they were, and we're going, Jesus Christ, that's David Bowie, and we're in like this small intimate club, like holy fuck. Yeah.
My boss was at the Pulse gig for Pink Floyd.
Oh wow.
He doesn't remember any of it. Well, he doesn't now because he passed away last year. But he didn't remember any of it because he was off his face the whole time. But there we go.
I saw Greg Lake with Gary Moore on guitar at Reading, which was cool. I think he needed
Manfred wants to. I think Manfred's catching up on the stream, and he wants to know how you type that fast when it comes to your.
I think the answer is badly. I mean. There's a lot of autocorrect going on, which I have to then fix because of I don't know what I'm typing. No.
Joining us in chat, we have Daniel and Dirty History and Hobbies. Nice to see you guys as well. The You're Wrong is in there. I never said hello to You're Wrong yet.
Yeah, Tien Tori's there. Jason is there.
Yeah.
Someone called Ralph is there.
John, that's the GM called Jason.
Jason
Harris. You told me about.
Yeah, no, I couldn't think of his name in chat, but I knew he was in chat.
And I'm really glad to see he's already getting in on the Torment Him on bandwagon.
But if anyone should, it should be him, right?
I may or may not have tagged this stream in my Discord to everybody.
Oh, good. Well, so that's where all the people have come from.
Puts more eyes on target, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that you need me more, you overperforming son of a so-and-so.
This last week I've underperformed because I haven't done much this week.
That's fair.
So anyway, that's life. We have a topic for tonight. Almost all fantasy games take place in dungeons, castles, cities, or temperate wildernesses.
Sure.
Like you wander through forests, or you explore shorelines of temperate regions. You hide in bushes. You hunt deer. You hunt rabbits. You encounter caves full of orcs and goblins and all that sort of thing. Ralph, I would love to have been there in '96. I wasn't. I'd like to have seen both of those in their heyday.
Are you joining us again, mate? It'll be nice to have you.
Is that a Reading accent that he's doing?
No, that was Scottish. Or attempted.
Well, it wasn't Scottish, but that's okay.
Swamp.
Ralph. Yeah. Now I remember who this guy is. Hey, Ralph, how you doing? I won't do my bad Scottish accent. I'll let Iman speak for all of us.
I'll let John do it. It's one he can actually do.
I can't do Scottish very well.
You could do it better than some of your.
You can't do French very well either. But you can try.
I can't do speaking very well. That's the problem. We sometimes had a gaming group with 95% left-handedness. We just started calling ourselves the Gamers Sinister.
Nice.
Ah, sinistre. That's clever.
Sinistral. Was it Latin sinistral, I believe?
That's strange
It's
because
Alucard a
left-handed
different
people, I
stream
think,
than the rest of us.
He's on a different planet tonight.
Seriously, it's Alucard.
Yeah.
Good
And
dude,
you're right.
but marching to his own drum.
You're right. You're wrong. You're right. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're right. You're right. You're wrong. Traditional fantasy is very England centric. In fact, I would say it's very Western Europe centric, not just England.
I'd say it's very Welsh.
Yeah.
Like I think Welsh is probably one of the biggest influences on Western fantasy for a lot of people who aren't into Tolkien, right? But they're into like fantastic stuff. I'm always seeing tons of like fucking Welsh and pseudo Celtic shit in there, and I'm like, oh. As a Celt, I'm like, bleh.
I mean, I don't see all that much Welsh, because if it was Welsh, I would assume it would be full. Well, you wouldn't find many deer or stags, that sort of thing around. You'd find a hell of a lot of sheep.
yeah.
I'm not here to play your British Isles bullshit game, sir. You can make fun of whoever you want on those islands. That's your choice. But we all know Arthurian legend comes from Wales by way of France. So, that all works out well for us. You English had very little to do with Arthur until after everybody else had a go at it. And then you went, oh, that's nice. Then I think we'll pick that up. That sounds good.
No, nonsense. King Arthur was based in Tintagel in Cornwall. I won't say anything different.
Yeah, still Celtic, and Swansea and Land's End, all a part of it.
Yeah. You're right there. You're right.
So yes, I'll have his wife.
So of course that is the familiar setting we're all used to when it comes to fantasy. So on this stream, I'd like us to discuss other environments. We'll start out with ones that we might have some idea about, and we might end up with other ones towards the end. So waterborne adventures.
Oh.
You don't like waterborne adventures?
Can't stand them. They're so dumb.
Why?
We have to have all these spells. We have to have a spell of water breathing. We have to have a spell of this. It's just magic. Ugh. I think I've made clear my feelings on magic in fantasy games, haven't I? Less is better.
It's pirates, basically.
It's just that I had a lot of fun running the module U3, the final enemy, which is basically the party are meant to scope out a Sahuagin lair and just sort of report back numbers. Of course, it goes wrong and it kicks off.
But does no one see the visual silliness of it all? Like, visualize in your head a D&D company, what a D&D party looks like in your head, and now put them underwater in a cave, fighting
in their normal clothes, yeah.
And still in their normal clothes, their armor and everything. They just got magic protected. It's so dumb. Ugh, I hate it. Anyway, I'll shut up.
I like it. You do have to have a waterproof spell book. You do have to have lots of things that are water. You've got to think about seeing underwater. You've got to think about moving. You've got to think about fighting. One of the most interesting. Boasting, of course. Yes. Of course, you can have crossbows. Can you?
No, you can't. Listen, have you ever shot bullets into water? There's much more power behind a bullet than there's behind a longbow or a crossbow, and a bullet can go about 3 feet before it stops.
You could have like a crossbow adapted to fire a harpoon or something.
Oh dear God in hell!
I don't know.
On the surface, not under the water.
I don't know.
Spear guns, you're thinking.
This is the primary problem with underwater adventures: is people have no idea how underwater works, so they think it's just a fucking magic ferry trip under the water, and everything works just like. Oh my God, I hate it. Anyway, sorry, I'll shut up.
Anyway, when I ran it through, the party only got into one issue underwater and fled towards the surface, and they brought the fight to the surface. And that made it quite interesting.
A lot easier?
It made it a lot easier, but it was quite an epic fight as the Sahuagin was slowly pushing them back through their lair, and the party were moving the battlefront back and trying to set up walls of oil and that sort of thing in the way, and barricades to try and keep the salvaging back. And it was one that session was a fight from start to finish, but it never got boring because the whole time it was panic, 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 panic. Shit, how are we gonna do this? Fall back, fall back, fall back, and they were coming and still coming, and it was a really, really good session. So I enjoyed that, but it wasn't the highlight of that adventure for me wasn't the underwater piece. It was the bit where the Sahuagin were emerging to the surface and trying to overwhelm the party. So, yeah, that's as far as I've gone when it comes to running games underwater. One thing about underwater games, though, is in a lot of fantasy games, there's quite a good supply of interesting underwater monsters that you never get to use. Has anyone ever used an Eye of the Deep?
No.
They're like an underwater beholder.
Basically, yes.
That was
No,
the
I
game
haven't.
it was.
I think it's about 10% of the AD&D monster manual. It's underwater creatures. So clearly Gygax was expecting underwater games.
10%
Tons
of
of
the time.
Was he,
Yeah.
or was he expecting the underwater things to come on land?
Well, a lot of these things. There's loads of fish. There's tons of sharks and giant squids and things like that in there.
You know the
Mer
most terrifying
creatures.
thing to do in D&D is take a ship on the open sea. Leave land. It's the most terrifying thing you can do in D&D because there's nothing gentle in the monster manual that's water-based.
Oh no.
There's nothing nice. There's nothing like, oh, well, we could fight 10 of those. No, one of them shows up and fucks up our ship. Now we're all drowning. Yay.
But one of my favorite. Oh, we have a Saxious lurking.
Ooh, yay, Saxious here.
We have a Saxious.
And yes, Elf Beta is right. Your average spear gun, like I think according to the spearfishing world form, has about 4 times the barrel length in range, and penetration drops off between half and 3 times the barrel length, like double.
I have never fished. I have never dived because I can't swim very well. So I can't use any experience there. But you've had players go, I tie myself to the mast when you go onto the ship.
Oh,
Yes.
I couldn't understand that with you being DM. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I could see myself not getting on the ship if he was the DM.
Yeah, no. So if we were to talk about D&D, absolutely go on the open ship. I try my hardest to encourage players to go for a nautical campaign, and I have managed just about to get my current real life group to go on a nautical campaign after our current one. Ocean campaigns are hilarious, in my opinion. Primarily because, as Bear said, you're going to be going into the ocean. You are not going to be able to see what is beneath you, and it's going to be dark, it's going to be creepy, and there are all sorts of problems that can be coming along. Not to mention that if you cannot swim, you are going to be having a very hard time, and it's going to be fun. So by the time you're going to be going out into the ocean, if you are not prepared, you are going to be in for a world of pain. If you are prepared, you might just about get through it. And you can have some really interesting setups as well. Like, I have seen players say, we need to look for a ship wreckage, but we don't want to attract a shark. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a player, cast invisibility on him, as well as water breathing, tie him to a piece of rope, throw him overboard so he just dangles down underneath the ship itself, and then just looks, like an underwater, camera with a small string that he can, yoink back into. And that's the players you're trying to sort of go, we don't want to go into the water, but we have to. So minimum effect, maximum outcome. It's great.
I'm just imagining the look on your face as when player characters get keel hauled.
Oh, at that point they deserve it. If a captain calls for someone to be keel-hauled, that is the equivalent of an execution. I mean,
I see, yes.
If we are looking at, let's just take, not even like a large ship, let's just take a Drakam, a Viking longship. You are going to have 4 or 5 men abreast that can stand on that? You're going to be slowly dragged underneath it. You might just survive, but my God, you're going to be coming up just splayed.
Medieval waterboarding.
Yeah, it's not great. Once you start getting into like galleons and the man of war ships, those things, that is just you're dead.
I was reading years ago. I was reading a book where they were talking about like from the time of the Spanish Main, reports of what keel hoeing was doing, and most of the guys were dead from the barnacles that they'd be dragged along the bottom
I was just going to say, yeah, that's not a nice way.
No, like you are going to be blades. You are going to be drowning. Like you're gonna have blood loss. By the time you get up from there, you are dead. Absolutely, you're gone. You're gonna be thrown into the water because they're not going to be giving you a proper burial on land.
And if they really hated you, they keel haul you lengthways.
Oh yeah, well, at that point it's just like this again. You're going to die, so might as well just make it as as fun for the rest of the men as possible.
Everything sample out of him.
So
yeah.
But so again, going back into the water domain, think of like you can have all of these awesome ideas, like a piece of land was pulled into the sea, and now the players have to go out and they have to look into it. Think of all the work that they're going to have to put into it. Anywhere from the water breathing, the continuous light stones, the preparations, the investigations, finding out roughly where it is, doing the triangulation for it, and then the resources of getting out there, hoisting down or throwing down the anchor, and then going in there, having that exploration, engaging in whatever locals have decided to make it their home, and dealing with it. It is so different. You're going to be slowed down. I mean, just think of like how slowed down you are when you are just knee-high in water. You're not walking at your full speed.
No.
Now you're fully submerged. Suddenly you're going to be going scouring for anything that's going to give you freedom of movement.
Oh, yes.
Those things are just, Go on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, things like a ring of free action and stuff like that become absolutely necessary.
Go on.
I mean, I do need to remind people who are on this stream about probably my favorite module of all time, which of course, second chapter takes place on a boat, and basically if you haven't played the Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, what have you been doing? But the party basically
games.
Yeah, but the party basically have to try and board a ship. And they're in a rowing boat, and there are pirates on the ship.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. It's absolutely magnificent. It's absolutely magnificent. It makes for a great centerpiece for a huge melee on the deck. And
it's like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but in D&D.
Maybe, but of course, I mean, there it is. I won't show, but if you've never seen the ship map, is it there? There. Oh, look at this. The rigging diagram, longitudinal section, and here we have the map of the boat. Boats aren't very big. All very cramped on board, which adds its own challenge. But that is such a wonderful map. I've reused that many times. Many times. I like adventures on boats.
Yeah, I agree with Manfred. I hate Age of Sail in my fantasy.
I like adventures on boats. I like the idea of pirate hunting, or the players' PCs being pirates. I think the ship is a great environment, as it makes the players really think about their armor choices. You don't want to go overboard in metal armor, do you? Makes them think about how they fight in confined spaces. You don't want a fireball spell on a boat, and you're not going to be bouncing any lightning bolts off walls where you're on a boat. There are other spells that will become useful, and it makes you think about rations, equipment, all that sort of stuff, as well as your environment. And that's what I like in a game: players to think about their environment, players to swing from the rigging with their sword between their teeth.
So what you're telling me
Arr!
is in the Codex Albana game, since you guys have just gotten on a ship and are heading for Isle from Drael, you want me to do a whole bunch of, not just get you there, but you want me to do a whole bunch of water adventures on the way there. Is that what you're saying, John?
No, because Devere is wearing heaviest armor
Oh,
possible.
well, should have thought of that before you got on a boat, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly why so many of my players just go like, no, tie myself to the mast, I want this, because they all think about only being on land. They don't think about, oh, what happens when we're on the sea. And I've seen so many NPCs and players, player characters, not players themselves. Whoops, Freudian slip. Where it's just a whole case of all I have to do is a brawling or a what's called a tackling and throw the characters overboard and off they go. Now most players just go, I'm done, I'm dead, I can't do anything, I'm sinking. I was like, there you go.
Yes.
What
Damn
are you
this
thinking- what are
chainmail.
you thinking about?
Exactly. What are you thinking about? Good
What
one.
are you thinking about?
But
Still
you
one of
know-
my favorite Burlett's commercials ever.
Yeah, but that's also one of the other things that, again, that players maybe not really be putting into attention, or at least the attention to detail. Like most ships, especially if we're going to be looking at galleons, are going to have the nettings that's going to be going over sides. Why? Because if someone falls overboard, they just need to get over to that side, hold on, and start climbing up. That's all that they really need to do. It's also in a fantasy setting a dangerous thing because you're inviting people on board, so you've got to raise it, lower it as and when. But that's,
As well as marine monsters.
well, yeah, but like the whole thing with like marine monsters, take like the dragon turtle. That thing's just gonna sink. So, like, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you going to do as a merchant? Like, if you're gonna be attacked by a dragon turtle, there's nothing you can do. If it's a kraken, there's nothing you can do. If it's going to be a gigantic blue whale that opens up and out from its mouth flies out the Kuotoas who have mind manipulated it because it all belongs to the ancient aboleth in the deep. Well,
I don't ever want to play D&D with you ever.
why not? I am a fun DM. I bring about things.
That doesn't sound fun. Blue whales spinning out Croatoa that are mind controlled by aboleths? What the fuck's wrong with you?
What's not to enjoy about this? It's just like, okay, never mind.
And if they do make it to port, they've got big taxes, import charges that you've all.
Oh, absolutely. Where's your manifest? Listen, I tuned in while I was driving home, and I heard what Bear said. Yes, you are absolutely right. I love the fact that Star Wars Phantom Menace was all about, what's called trade disputes. I was like, yes.
I stand
As a
by
matter
that
of fact,
statement.
Sorry?
I stand by that statement. I ain't
Yeah.
ducking it.
You know what? And funnily enough, again, just small tangent, but as Imam from the Friday game, him and the team kind of opened Pandora's box when they were discussing about like what is actually inside of the whole, the rules for why heroes have to be registered. And I just sat there and went, oh, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy it when the players are going to go into the libraries and open up the actual laws and rules and regulations for why this has happened and what has happened over 20 years of legal precedents that's been set. I am teased by this notion. But more so, I like going back onto the topic. With the topic of, again, marine, the idea that the players have to really pay attention to what they're putting onto the ship. Even if we were to take the same thing for like a sci-fi setting, because you are basically doing the same thing. You are just flying around or sailing around in your own ship. Resources is important. Direction is important. Abilities and skills for navigating around are very important. This is the point where, as a group, You really have to discuss and sit down and review what are you doing. Because you are not going on a ship without having someone that can do navigation. You're not going to be going on a ship without someone who is a trained or seasoned sailor. You're not going to be going on a ship without someone that's going to be able to help plot the course. These are very fundamental skills that you need, not to mention that you're going to be needing other things like repairs. You're going to need the resources to do all of these steps. And if you're smart, you will invest heavily into a spy glass, something equivalent, or a very good map, because they're very useful, or a compass.
I was thinking about what you said about the manifest. Yeah, I can see the ship wizard has to do a sending to the port they're approaching with the passenger list on. Like the Inoid that has to be transmitted to the Coast Guard in America. Otherwise, they won't let them land.
Just don't mind me taking notes.
Saxious, I don't know if this sort of thing would be of any help to you, but in that,
I know.
It's got.
I know.
You know.
I know.
Yeah.
I know it has to manifest. I know that the players have to go through all of these things, and I have heard that the whole thing of like, oh, it doesn't mean anything. I beg to differ. I will be standing up. I will be having genuine arguments with other players about how we will logistically get everything on board these sleds, how we will use the belts of each other to whip ourselves into a frenzy so that we can push this over, and why it is possible for us to get through this under these insane circumstances.
Yes,
I'm a fun player, I promise.
There's about 30 odd pages of just lists of stuff at the back of that. You'd absolutely love it, actually.
Oh yeah,
really would. Hello to chat. Those who've joined us recently, I've spotted PBR Street Gangs in here. Nerds Nerd has joined us. Straw Piglet, Joe the Lawyer. Good evening. We are talking about adventuring in different environments, away from the stereotypical castle, dungeon, or temperate wilderness. And at the moment, we're listening to Saxious opine on the joys of planning a sea voyage.
Oh God, yes. And I encourage it. It's fun. It's great. Do not listen to Bear. I would be a fun DM.
Never. Listen, no. Generally, in all things in life, do not listen to Bear. I am a bad influence with bad ideas.
Saxious,
I have great ideas. You should definitely play in my sea voyage.
Saxious has nothing but one good idea after another.
Halakar's given me an idea for an upgraded spell here. I mean, it's only a 2nd level spell, sticks to snakes. But if it cast it at 4th level, what about planks to pythons?
I like that.
Okay.
Boards to boas.
What turns them into Terry Gilliam or something?
So this is bringing up the whole other topic. So I'm assuming that we're all familiar with how lightning works when it comes to water contact. So
yes,
the whole thing of like you're not going to be casting. Yeah, you're not going to be casting
for a while because I'm going to get a drink.
Sure, I'll keep this going. Don't worry.
Okay.
So the whole thing about you're not going to be able to cast lightning spells underneath water. Equally so, you're not exactly going to be getting away with firebolt spells or firebolt spells underneath water, simply because the elements dissipated. In 2nd edition, it was verified that if you're going to be casting lightning bolt from the point of origin of the spell, you're basically going to have the equivalent of a fireball of electricity going boom. Symbol. Can be used, can be slightly abused, but there's going to be some limitations because you don't have the same cubic meters when it comes to the electricity. Fireball, just a straight up, you're not going to get anything.
What about cold spells?
Well, you get some
cold
steam.
spells. Cold spells can be very effective underwater.
They can be very effective, but again, you're now looking at, if you look at how water expands when you go into the actual frozen, proper frozen stuff, it expands out quite greatly. So you're almost going to have to say, okay, whatever area of effect plus 25%, that's the area that's now going to be hit by that. But as a friend of mine has pointed out, why would you ever do any of this? This is the most useless pieces of spells you could ever possibly make underneath water. No, you must be using Shatter. shatter sonic weapons, things that will make your insides just turn into liquid. Why? Because we don't need enemies.
Well, when I ran U3, the final enemy, the reason why the Saracen pursued the party out of their lair wasn't just because they discovered them. It's because the party insta froze the Saracen's hatchery and killed a load of the babies and the Saracen women. Because it says in the D&D Dungeon Master's Guide that ice storm works underwater. So water dwelling creatures plus ice storm, it's going to freeze. They're going to be in a spot of bother. But then the party were pursued by the angry Saracen warriors. So that worked. That worked for them.
You mean the murder hobos got pursued by that?
Yeah. They were only supposed to go in and scout out the place, but then they saw the depravity of the Saracen and decided that they had to stop them breeding. Yeah. So, Waterborne Adventures, great. I think it's a great place for adventuring. Saxious clearly loves it. Bear hates it with a passion. Iman's never done it. Andy?
I've run the odd little one, but nothing where it's really based on water. It's just they happen to be on a boat or whatever. It's like I ran Dragons of Stormwreck Isle recently, and they had to get there, so they're on a boat. And in the night, something takes some of the little piglets that have been transported on the ship. They eventually find out it was the harpies that are on the island. So where they found bits of where they found the remains of the piglets, which upset some people. And I also introduced the concept of, well, how do harpies breed? Well, they use their song. They
Hello, YouTube. I'm Jonathan, and today I'm going to be talking about some.
Sorry about that.
Siri.
Yeah, it's my elbow.
Siri has some
so harpies breed by kidnapping sailors who they've hypnotized, have their wicked way with them, then eat them. Because why not?
Delicious.
Yeah.
On a quick side note, T and Tori is saying she's done underwater temples. I highly approve. You just need to, include more monsters, like, watery ones. Aboleths are a good stable goal for. If not that, Sahugans.
That's two different pronunciations. How you
Sorry,
pronounce
Sahagin. So
Sahugans, Toas.
Yeah.
I say Saracen. What do you say, Bear?
Stupid, dumb devilfish.
Yeah, devilfish is good enough.
Devilfish.
My personal favorite that I remember really gave a great impression of me to Bear: demonically possessed sharks.
Yeah, I'm never playing D&D with any of you.
It's fun. Come on.
I've never run, so don't worry about that.
I'm really looking forward to never playing D&D with you, Sax. Really.
Can I tempt you with The Witcher?
No, because that's going to be even worse.
What? That sounds fantastic.
God, I don't want to see the damage you could do with the Striga. No.
Oh, I have had a player who basically went, "Can I have a highborn vampire as my enemy?" And I just went, "Yeah, I mean the rules aren't out yet." Then the rules came out, and I sat there and went, "Do you want to keep this? Because I have the rules." And I was like, "Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fun." I'm like, "Okay." I'm rolling up what a highborn vampire is going to be like. This is not fun, but it's fun for me, but it's not fun for them.
So, hello, RPG Dad. We're going to move on. We've got lots of interesting areas to go through. What about airborne adventures?
Oh my God!
I mean, it's just like the same, except that in water, where you can go in 3 dimensions, in airborne, you can go 1 dimension. It's down.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
No, so honestly, there's a whole bunch of other things. It's just water, but you're now dealing with air. There's not really that much more to say. The logistics of maintaining flights and the movement of your products and goods is going to be the biggest complication. If you take something like the elemental plane of air, where it is the whole thing of like there are floating what's called floating islands, and then once you jump into or away from the gravitational force, you're just going to keep flying. Like it's more of a headache to deal with than it is worth for the group to go through. And I would keep waterborne campaigns to a minimum, purely because the work it requires from the DM and from the players minimizes the fun from the sessions.
So we moved on to airborne. The hell?
Yeah.
You said waterborne.
Oh, sorry. My point stands with take all my points but applied for airborne. Yeah.
I actually prefer airborne because you can do some really fun things with airborne. There's some fun creatures, and you don't have to worry about breathing. That's the really nice part about airborne. And if someone goes, well, if you get high enough, the oxygen runs out. I'm not running a scientific campaign. I'm not running a game based on our understanding of the stratosphere and all that fun stuff. I'm running a game about they're on a planet, there's air, they can breathe.
Yeah, just magic, like just hand wave done. Like I wouldn't go that far into it. Like, no,
but I would love to talk about some fucking offensively high magic settings at some point in this conversation, because my God, underwater, up in the air.
Astral plane?
Going the next step as well would be Spelljammer, wouldn't it? So
Astral plane, Spelljammer, elemental planes. It's like, oh fuck.
Let's just go into the Underdark.
Now that's interesting.
Yeah, now I agree. That is interesting. Because the Underdark
is airborne before we get off on that side tangent. Maybe Andy has
damn it. Yes.
The Underdark is typical caves, though. We're not going to talk about that.
No, it's so not. It's so much more than that.
John, why are you doing that? Go and educate yourself.
I don't know what you're talking about, so educate me.
We will. When we get there.
We're on airborne. We're on airborne. Yes. And it's not an environment I've ever run a game. The module I just waved on stream, UK7 Dark Clouds Gather, is the only AD&D module I know of where maneuverability classes and things like that comes into it. I just ignored when I ran AD&D. I've never run that adventure. I just simply don't know. I simply don't know. All I know is that a ring of feather falling would be incredibly useful, but then a gust of wind spell against someone who's feather falling could also be very interesting. But is that a spell that people often take? I don't know. I don't know much. I mean, flying is just something that's meh to me. When the players do it,
too sci-fi.
I like. No, it's not too sci-fi. I'd rather have the flying done by monsters picking the characters up and taking them up and then dropping them from a significant height. Because as someone mentioned earlier, who was it? Was it Halakar? Yep. Dragons in my game are B-52s. They usually carry something heavy when they fly that they can drop on enemies below. What about picking up enemies and dropping enemies on enemies below? These are all
sure.
There's nice heavy fighters in plate armor and things like that.
Yes, yes.
But again, like with airborne, again, we're gonna be. It depends on how far you want to go into it, because again, me coming from second edition, I've got the whole maneuverability rules and this air speeds, land speeds that you would have to take into account, which to me is fun. That makes sense. So if you're going to be going into an air duel, the whole thing of like how quickly you can turn around a rock versus someone that can cast fly, flexibility versus speed. These are really interesting things to bring about. Not to mention that, I mean, I have had a rock in my second edition game that has appeared twice, and on both instances, the players were very careful about what they were doing. And the moment that the rock went up and above into the skies, they just went, nope, find somewhere to hide, because the moment that thing dive bombs, you have got no movement. It doesn't matter what reaction. Like if you say you've got a held action, you are not stopping a rock dive bombing at you. Good luck on that. But it's there are a number of things you can do with airborne campaigns, and it's again if you can put in the work or if you can set in the logistics for it, awesome. the duels, the combat, the monsters you're going to be encountering with that, they are different. They're different for very specific reasons. Anywhere from the rock being a large, otherwise cumbersome creature that is flying around, all the way over to the griffins, who are a lot more agile in comparison. Not to mention the horses are just crack cocaine for them. Love that. And next week you're going to be having, gargoyles. Hell, they're going to be a lot more meaner about it, and knocking you off your balance and making you fall down. Why? Because they're vicious and they're chaotically evil. They're about inflicting as much damage as they possibly can, and they know how to do it.
There was a great old dragon article, which I'm sure you'll come across at some point during your readings, where they basically taught you how to use a dragon versus a high-level party. And because it's first edition, it was spellcasting dragons, and it started with the dragon casting invisibility on himself. Because he's already got his perimeter set up. He knows they're coming towards me. I'm invisible. Then, just before he swoops down on the party, anti-magic shell, grab the spellcaster. Take him up real fucking high.
And let go.
And drop the spellcaster. Good night, Irene. So it was a really good systematic breakdown. It's quite nice. I can't remember what issue it is.
I had a sorry, Joe the lawyer. Welcome to the stream.
Yes, well,
hey everybody.
Joe.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
See y'all again.
No problem.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
It's been a bit. I've been here in a bit. I've been with work and stuff. I finished them. Like I caught some of the beginning part a little bit, but I had to keep going. And then they're just starting the main topic around 4:30. Perfect. So I uploaded a couple of videos, and I figured I'd jump in while I was listening to you. But I did something funny with a dragon that you're talking about. That I use a dragon not in terms of air-to-air combat or nothing, but because that's always hard, right? Unless you're doing this one Dragonlance thing, and that's a bullshit thing. But I swooped down on my brother's high-level character and grabbed one of his followers. He had, official followers and whatnot, and he just took off with it. The female white dragon took off, ran up to the, mountain fortress, whatever. And what she demanded was in exchange for the prisoner who had multiple blades to his throat kind of thing, and he's been obviously tortured and frozen in a block of ice. You see the blood pooled around him and frozen over again. What she demanded is my brother's character bang her so she could have dragonborn children. And he's sitting there. It's like he's got to make this decision. I got to save the life, or I can bang, not in dragon form, obviously. And I showed him a picture of this is what she looks like when she's not in dragon form. That's the thing you would be banging. And he's like, "Son of a bitch, you mother!" So he went through with it because his men were there. Like, that's our guy. Do the deed. Pull it off. Take one for the team. She's hot anyway. That's how I had his followers talking to him. And he's like, I got to bang a hot chick knowing my kids are going to be out there raised by an evil bitch. Right. So he had to do it. He had to go. He went through with it. And he's like, he vowed vengeance. He's going to go kill her. I'm like, how you would? You got to raise it. Yeah. She had a litter of 64 dragonborn. Who's going to raise that? You know what I mean? So, just fucked them all up. That was a good time. So dragon swoops are fun.
I should stop taking notes.
I mean,
Saxious is trying to figure out fucking child support in a medieval tax scheme.
I was actually about to say you're taking the vow of vengeance. Why? Because it's the whole child support and the split of custody. That's what you're doing it for. It's just like everyone else is like, oh no, morals. I'm just like, no, there are rules in place here.
Yeah.
I am lawful.
Only you, Saxious. Only you.
No, I just one of my players even just pointed out I'm lawful to a fault, and it's what makes for him, because he's also lawful. Is that it makes the games fun because they are very stuck on rules and how things are running, and he loves the fact that I've actually got the Church of Taxes. But
one bit of sort of fantasy footage from a TV show that I like. I've not watched the TV show. It's from House of the Dragon. I've not watched the TV show, but I have watched a particular clip. Due to playing in a Mafia game, which was House of the Dragon themed, I wanted to see who my character was. So I watched my character's death scene. And it was, I don't know if any you've seen that series, but a young prince is riding on a small dragon to battle.
Yes.
And a the evil guy on the big dragon fails to control the big dragon. The big dragon swoops in, and it's just like whoomph, and then all you see is just pieces of the young dragon falling to the ground.
That was awesome. That was an awesome scene. I nearly shit when I saw that, man. That was great. There was just, oh shit, how it goes. You got a bigger dragon, you might live, baby.
Yeah. But it's also the whole thing of like maneuverability versus speed and power, which I quite enjoyed from what they were showing in that scene. But yeah, no, airbornes. That's if you could. It's one of those of where like you have the whole freedom of the 3 dimensions if you have the ability to fly. And from there, it's just going to be down to speed and agility.
And maneuverability. And that's a funny thing. They're talking about that in the House of the Dragon. So I'm trying to figure out, all right, who has what dragons are left. And my brother, especially my nephew, they know all. And there's no D&D stats, but they know all the equivalent D&D stats. Who's older, who's bigger, who the riders are, and who's more maneuverable, who's faster. And that actually, George R. R. Martin actually has all that, in his books and in the story. So it's like, well, this one's bigger, but this one's more maneuverable. So he's really got a shot. And if this one comes over here, it's like a whole strategy thing, which could be fun, and Gary in his AD&D players DM guide, he had maneuverability and whatnot, but it was all kind of the same, right? It was just hit points. Everybody had the same turning speed and all this kind of stuff. So it would have made for a very boring fight with no differences. But I think House of the Dragon is pulling it off well.
Yeah, but I'd definitely say that this is where like the DM style is going to be stepping in.
Oh yeah,
because again, that's what I am going to use my example of when I had a rock appear. The rock was quick, like very dangerously quick once it was going in a straight line, but once it needed to turn, it would have to spend 2 or 3 I would make it spend 2 turns just to get around for 180, and then the rock would always basically go like, okay, I've got to turn, well, I'm just going to go up and then do the whole maneuverability while hidden behind clouds, because again, it's a predator. We're talking about much like an eagle, the fact that they're going to be using the ability to be high above and be able to see down through. Make use of that.
Bomber versus a fighter in military equivalent, right?
Yeah, exactly. Funnily enough, one of my players, again, he in game made a comment that he wanted to put out an ad and get some NPCs to go out into an area and get the eggs of hippogriffs. He managed to do that, but it took real life 6 months before that actually took fruition. The player, and he got them, so he now has fowls of hippogriffs that has imprinted him as being the mother or the father. But the idea is that later he's going to have a hippogriff mount that he can fly on, and everyone has just agreed, even though he can't use them as of yet. It is just virtually cool, and the player just went, "I am happy to retire my character as is." Because this is an achievement in itself that he's been able to acquire that.
That's cool.
It's an achievement in his adventuring career, isn't it? I see chatter discuss Manfred as dropping walruses from the sky on enemies. I don't know quite how, but I mean, very specific. But I think even a rock might struggle to carry a ton. A walrus weighing a ton.
I disagree, because the picture of a rock is that it picks up an elephant and flies off.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
A little snack. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
Say what you want. I've made my case.
That's true.
Yes, and you're backed up by artwork. Yes, you're backed up by artwork. Yes, yes.
You are technically correct, which is the best form of correct.
Thank you.
Oh, it was a magical figurine that turned into walrus. Right. Okay. I mean, my party did a dive bombing trick using a folding boat, thinking in 3 dimensions. They dropped a folding boat on somebody and sent the command word to the boat from a distance using ventriloquism, and squished the enemy leader. There you go.
Awesome.
Good way of doing it. Strange, odd use of a magic item, and it broke, which was good. I was happy with that.
Yeah, they lost the boat, right? I mean, if the boat broke, that's a great treasure. I I was in a
Yep,
game I was
yep.
run. My brother was running about a couple months ago, and he had one of those Jolly Batten dragon ship, right? Remember that from that adventure module? It was on those folding boats, and those are the keywords to activate it. And it's in a little cave, and my guy was a thief, and I did the invisible and levitate thing. So I'm sort of pushing against the ceiling, and I dropped 10 vials of everything I had for alchemist fire on top of it. And it was a shit show. The whole thing blew up. I killed half the people. The boat got away. And once I realized it was a folding boat, one of those special ones, I was like, son of a bitch, I nearly destroyed a magic item that would have been awesome. Turns out they all got away anyway, so now I'm doubly pissed. You know, I didn't even get the boat. It was my alchemist fire. I'm like, shit, those things are valuable though, man. You can't beat that. That's a great tool to have if you're bouncing around the water. And as before, a quick summary on my take on waterborne adventures: generally boring, and generally everything in there is too powerful or too weak, and it just gets old. You're sailing some more. You know,
I think humans are the main enemies on the water eventually.
Pirates, yeah.
Pirates, yes.
I had my players wash up on an island that had a lot of interesting statues. Had a temple, a lot of statues, very interesting statues. Eventually, they realized it was a Medusa's lair.
So my group with that folding boat fight was a good opportunity for me to wheel out the item saving throw table from the AD&D.
Oh, nice.
That's why it broke.
Nice.
That's why it broke. And my party were like, "Oh, that exists." I was like, "Yes, yes," but hey ho. So yes, airborne adventures give you more dimensions to work in. Again, you've got to think about what you're wearing, what you're carrying, because if you're using a flying mount, can it cope with the weight on board? It's got to be taken into account. And what happens should you fall off or your mount dies beneath you? You could be in a spot of bother. Mm-hmm. So it's more peril, and it's peril that we like as DMs. Peril is something that we need to use in spades constantly.
No, it's too perilous.
No. We've got to use and abuse the peril as much as possible, because that's what makes the game interesting.
Thank you, John. I will quote you on that.
Use the peril. I had a high level part of my campaign a couple of years ago. I had griffins and military, big war, blah blah blah. But some of the high level characters, the griffin riders and nobles and the captains of the army or whatever who had griffins, they had the basically it's a minor magic item. It's basically cast on the saddle, and if you fall off the saddle, a feather fall kicks in off you. You know what I mean? It's figured that's a basic thing that would help. High level people would definitely have that on there just to survive in case you fall, but it does take away some of the peril. But of course, high level people would have something like that. So it's just a basic spell, you know.
Can we rename this stream "Reasons Bear Doesn't Play D&D Anymore"?
Okay, Bear. Okay.
I know I'm a curmudgeon on this one because you guys are only we're talking about fantasy settings and it's turning into D&D mechanics, and I'm just like, boring. That's okay. Sax wanted to say something. I apologize.
No, I was just gonna go into more mechanics, but that's not.
No. Go ahead. Listen. Don't let me spoil your fun, please. I'm actually doing Patreon posts while we're doing this, so go ahead.
My the only comment I was going to make is, Featherfall is more of a short-term contingency for someone else to catch you, because it's not going to stop you all the way down. But neither here or there. It still makes sense.
What does my character have, John? Does he have a ring of feather falling or something like that?
For the Friday game, yes, he does. Bear, Straw Piglet has mentioned superheroes flying.
Yeah, we're not talking about superheroes tonight. We're talking about fantasy settings and fantasy locations to have adventures in.
Okay.
And by the way, they don't dovetail. No matter what.
No, they don't.
Straw Piglet is just trying to do what Straw Piglet always does, which is try and provoke and poke. He's an excellent level troll.
That's you told, Piglet. That's you told.
Move on to the Underdark.
You want to do the Underdark next?
Yeah, I think the Underdark is very unique, despite what you might think.
There's no really. I'm just going to pick you up on your English there, Saxious. You don't need the word "very" with unique.
I don't care.
That's you told, John.
Yeah. Okay.
You
It's
and
very
man.
unique that way, yeah.
Like what you're picking on someone who doesn't speak English as their first language. Like I
I
could
know,
not give a
I
damn.
know, I
Like,
know,
honestly,
I know.
But it is tautological.
Oh, no. John being an absolute pedantic twat about the English
Twat!
language is
Twat!
no. I don't have a glass of water, therefore it's not a twat.
No, it's pronounced twat. We invented the word. We
No.
we
You guys-
control the pronunciation. We invented the word.
I could
I'm
do
just-
this all night, just get you going off in these little Anglo tangents that you go on, which are a lot of fun for me, but I'd like to contest the very unique Underdark.
Yeah, it is not just and I am offended you would even say this, John. My God, it is not just another cavern. The Underdark is its own thing. You are not in a normal cavern, just running through, and would you look at that? That's radiation poisoning. That is not just something you get in another cavern. You are not just going so deep down that you have got the Dwerga, the Grell, the Drow, and every other race that is known.
Say it. Say it. Say the gnome one. I dare you. Smurfs. Fucking Smurfs.
They are
Smurf nibbling.
Smurfs. They are
Sorry, John. Schmervs. I apologize.
You on the Underdark is where you go when you have got chest on your fucking. You've got hair on your fucking chest. There we go. Not chest on your fucking hair. It is really just the trial of a player, because you are not just going down there for the sake of like, oh, it's a cave. No, it is a war zone. You are walking into the areas where you have got the circles of the myconids who are trying to just foster, their growth to grow peacefully, and while they are beating away those evil Dwergars who are taking slaves of the Snurf Neplings, who are running upstairs, grabbing humans, bringing them downstairs, whipping them into death while they are tunneling in further. Why? Because they are just evil. Like, there is no other way to describe them than just evil. They do not care. Everything about them, their society, their beliefs, their outlooks, it is just about inflicting pain. And what I haven't even touched upon the Drow. Why? You all know what they're going to be like, and they're going to be whipping you within an inch of your life. Why? Because it's just fun.
No, Oscar. You're so wrong on that last one. First of all,
Please.
Your point on Sniverbervlin being evil, well, to
Dwegar,
semi-quote Joe's picture, our Dwegar, to say, that's just like your opinion, man. Why are you putting your morals on them? But secondly, don't forget, Pax Drow exists in the Underdark. Within any area of a Drow city, there will be a large radius around it that is like, do not fuck around in this territory, or you'll find out how fucking badass Driders are, and they're going to fuck with you. But there are multiple noble houses and bloodlines within the Drow society. They make the fucking Game of Thrones look like a game of fucking checkers, and they're going to fucking use you, if they can, to try and remove their opposing house that they want to take out of the picture or what have you. Menzo Baranzan is lovely, but you ever read the one from Greyhawk? The Drow City in Greyhawk?
I do not own that.
So many interesting things going on down there.
That's pretty good
so
stuff.
many.
That one.
Yeah.
That one.
There you go.
Exactly. No, but you are right. The Drow are awesome because it is just a powerhouse unto themselves whenever you've got them in that area. Again, I've got my views on the Dwerga and how I use them, but there are so many ways it can be done. And the environment.
Sax, Nerd makes a really good point. We forgot. Illithids are all over that fucking place.
Yeah.
These
So
holders are trying to build little empires down there.
I've tried to stay away from the mind flayers, but I agree. Beholders.
Aboleth in underground lakes. You love Aboleth. Put him in the lake.
Yes. There is just so much down there. So many goodies. Again, quoting Nerds, the mind flayers, the Aboleths, the Beholders. Just what you can do with the
intellect devourers.
Oh yeah, just the washed out experiments that some of these aboliths and the aberrations will commit. That's. I would even argue that there's going to be areas, at least the way that I run D&D, areas of such high, insane concentration of magic that you're going to start having the realities bleeding over, and you're going to be having monsters of not just like the what's called the circles of the planes that we know, but no, the outer areas. Like I like to refer to them to the Grell and what the Grell represents. The beings of absolute terror, the things from beyond the void, the Cthulhian mythos bleeding in. Why? Because go on.
Or like that.
I had a campaign where basically I was taking Hank Grinfer and Nail's introductory adventures, the Moloch thing, Prisoners of Moloch, blah, 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 blah. And I made Moloch an intelligent, elevated Grell who used illusions to make himself look like a wizard. But he was just a Grell who suddenly could cast spells and was like able to think for himself. And he's like, what am I going to do with this shit?
Yeah.
So he decided he was going to use the gelatinous cubes to clean out the Underdark because he wanted to take out the Drow and take over this section for himself. And he was using humans as slaves, right?
Yeah.
And that's how the players get captured. And then they wind up on this whole thing. There's so much interesting shit you can do. John, you said 10% of the monster manual is underwater. I give you 30 to 40% of it's underground.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And I actually really do like big underground adventures. I'm really glad I set Saxious off on a quality rant there.
I mean, just look at what Manfred's thrown out there. Piercers. I love using piercers. There's nothing more fun than the place like walking along and dunk. Here's a piercer. Here's a piercer. Here's a piercer.
Yeah. Dark mantles.
Oh yeah. Ropers was another great one. The fact that
Ropers are destructive as hell.
Oh, casting Charm Person on a player and having them come hither, only for them to be slathered around with those tentacles, and then it's great. And they've got reach. They've got decent reach. It's like 20, 30, 40 yards they can go out to, depending on age.
All I'm saying is Underdark, Outer Dark, coincidence? I think not.
No, my absolute favorites, the one that I have made players have to do a live on what's it called, autopsy? No, surgery on one another is rot grubs.
I love those.
I have
and hate those. All the
I
same
have
thing.
I will put them out there. You see a corpse with a little bit of loot, you better get out that 10-foot pole and start poking that thing, because there be rot grubs. If you're debunked enough, those things will come for you. And I enjoyed the fact that I got one of my groups to cast Enlarge Person for the sake of getting the body and the rot grub to be large enough for them to see it, for them to get out the knife and carve him open, pull it out, kill it, and then cauterize the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah. I loved it. I called system shock upon the player for him to survive that.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, the best thing that really brought the Underdark to life for me was this War of the Spider Queen series of books. It was R.A. Salvatore's, but he didn't write any of it. There was like 5 or 6 different authors. 6 books in a series centered in the Dro, and they ended up going into different areas, and it really brought the entire Dro political shit to life, even better than all those Drizzt books did back in the day for me. There was a more modern rule set too. I think 3s or the 5th edition or something like that. It might have been. I think it was the 3rd edition era. But it was just well done. Good stuff. The
Underdark brings out the evil in players, Joe.
Yeah,
players get evil in the Underdark. I ran a game, a newbie game, and one of the girls was her first D&D game ever. Was playing a gnomish. She believed she was a princess of the gnomes, like whether she was or not. It's gnomes, you argue. Called Peanut, and like 7th, 8th, 10th adventure, something like that. They had to go into the Underdark because their sorceress got kidnapped, and then they had to go down. And instead of like coming up with a plan to raid the underground slavers and get the sorceress back, they literally went in to talk parlay. And this little chaotic, neutral fucking gnome princess starts talking to them like, "Well, I can offer you gnomish slaves as a replacement for her." And I'm like, "What are you doing?" Fuck it, I'm the princess. They're my people. I'll just sell them off. I'm like, we were shocked. We were just shocked.
Yeah.
But there's something about being underground, surrounded by evil at every
That's
turn.
what it is. I think you just said that's the thing, dude. It's like everything is evil, so you could go full murder hobo without repercussions.
It's an environment where brutality and cruelty rules. So the point of being a hero in the Underdark is
None.
swept underneath the rug. Why? Because that will give you more pain. However, if you really nail those monsters to the walls and have their wails echo into the dark, you will set out the example that your territory has been carved out, and these beings are there to mark it out. And if you are exceptionally evil, you will cast Cure Light Wounds upon them. Why? Because they need to live and enjoy this with magical screws that will just keep turning every hour. I am a good person, I swear.
What's your safe word, Saxious?
What happens to the Helicard there? What happens in the Underdark stays in the Underdark. Amen. Amen.
I did play in one campaign where there was a gangster element to the Underdark, and there were two sentient twin brother clay golems called Ronnie and Reggie Clay. The Clay Twins.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice.
But you feared them. I was the player in that game. You feared them. You were. It was like, yeah,
So he told me I'd transgressed the unwritten law. Oh, what was that? He didn't tell me, but it was good enough for Dinsey. It was good enough for me. That's that. That's it right there. The fucking what is that? It's the Piranha Brothers, the Monty Python version of the Clay Brothers, the Piranha Brothers. You must have seen that, John. Come on.
I haven't actually.
I haven't seen that one where they do that really great sketch about the fucking the Cray brothers, but they call them the Piranha Brothers.
I'll have to look that up because I haven't seen that.
Fucking genius, dude. Yes, Sax.
Iman.
Yes.
Have we painted you a picture of what the Underdark is like?
It sounds absolutely delightful.
It looks like you're there right now.
Welcome to my life. No, it sounds
there you go.
Cthulhu-y and sort of more what I'm into rather than the traditional dungeon.
It is definitely one of the environments where you as a player, if you come in with like high morals and you're trying to do good, you are going to be challenged. If you're coming in, you are going. If you come in and you're chaotic neutral, if you're just focused around getting the mission done, it's a whole case of like you're going to have to get it done, but you're going to have to play faction against faction. You're going to have to overcome natural environments, natural disasters. I mean, just looking at the amount of dirt and rock that an Umber Hulk could just tear through. And
I mean, think of that too. Just to talk about characters, you can't bring a paladin into the Underdark and have that's a pain in the ass. Something like that going down there, and who has to like get by Lord of the Flies style. It's not going to happen with a paladin in that group. It's going to screw the whole plan up, man.
Hey, Iman, have you ever wanted to know the difference between neutral evil, lawful evil, and chaotic evil? Well, spend some time in Skullport, and you'll get to meet all three at some point.
Great little setting. Great little setting.
Do I still have it?
Saxious is.
I just want to say thank you, Daniel, and there's some. There we go. There's Skullport.
I do indeed own it.
We have some very familiar names.
Jerry Williamson, Richard the Dungeon Crawler, Ironcaster, Mage's Music.
Wow. Yeah, there we go.
We don't make music for sure. Straw Piglet just got one. That's nice.
Yeah.
I know Jerry. Yeah, I know Jerry too. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Excellent. Thank you, Daniel. And if you're in chat and you've just got a membership from Daniel, make sure you give him that.
Oh, Daniel. He just woke up and went, memberships.
Well, yes, the Underdark is not just it is indeed a setting in on itself. It has got challenges, and we have only just talked about the monsters that's down there. We've not even talked about, the fact that like you got to question whether you can drink the water, whether the mushrooms are going to get you high, or how you're going to be getting your supplies, or where even the
logistics.
There's an OSE campaign or a BX campaign that I've always wanted to run. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but I want to set it in Mystara. And I want it to be basically, for some reason, the players find out the Drow have finally pierced into Mystara and are now trying to conquer the Shadow Elves. And then the players sucked into that.
That could be fun.
And then that would be so fucking neat because the Shadow Elves are such a different beast, right? Than the Drow. They're so very different. Problem is, you got to get around that stupid bullshit Mystara thing. The immortals prevent anybody from outside ever getting in. Ugh. Fuck, I hate that. I hate that setting so much because of shit like that. But you know what? Fuck it. Do an Organian peace treaty. The Organians are gone. What do you do now? Well, the immortals have vanished. What the fuck do you do now? Now stuff's coming into your Mystara setting. Could be a lot of fun.
Straw Piglet, yes, goblins do. I won't go any further than that because it's
not again.
Saxious.
Fuck off.
Are we back to the goblin chat?
He won't let it go. Honestly, I need to get him into another campaign.
He brings it.
No, the honest and serious answer is that I go out of my way to try and make things as evil and as dastardly as possible. Why? Because my dice are not kind to me.
But it's still fun. It's fun to try and get out of your schemes.
I genuinely try to kill the player characters. Genuinely, they need to be put down. Oh, God's sakes.
That bad, huh? You hate him? You hate him that much? I mean, Jesus.
What the player characters, or the fact that I've done the whole? No, it's the Goblin campaign, and yeah, that went in a direction where those players should not have survived as long as they did.
But we did.
Managed to. Sounds like they pulled it off.
Yeah,
and the only one who died jumped willingly into a grave and had the
I got to bury him alive. I was very happy with that. I was very glad that I played.
He got himself buried alive because we persuaded him he was dead.
That makes you feel a little bit better, Saxious.
It did, but I've been trying to make up for it ever since. Anyways, we're getting off topic because we're not here to talk about Shadow of the Demon Lord, but it's great. If you want to see a lot of characters rolling through and in, they're easy to make in, by the way. But we're here to talk about the environment.
Saxious,
Let's just check in real quick. Andy, are you alive?
For that,
I'm still here. here.
You haven't said shit for like almost an hour. At this
I've been listening to you guys, so.
Sorry, Andy. Tell us: have you ever been thrown into the Underdark?
Not really. No.
Have you ever thrown players into the Underdark?
No. Again, not really.
Okay. Have you ever threatened your players to throw them into the Underdark?
Not so much. No, I tend to take them into Ravenloft, things like that.
No, that's a good one.
So I went from Secret Assault Marsh. They get the boat, and then the mists roll in, and they end up with their boat in the middle of a swamp, and they're actually on Serenade. So,
right, Andy, I need to introduce you to a player of mine because when he is still in my second edition. When I told him that mist was rolling down towards him, he went, "Please, Oscar, please tell me this is what it is." He wanted to go to Ravenloft. I was like, I've got half a mind of sending you there now.
Halakar, you're giving me ideas. You really are giving me ideas. I think I do need to invest in a stuffed chicken.
Oh my God.
Geek, I know you like Saltmarsh. Believe it or not, old school guy and whatnot, I've never played that module. I just never bought it. It wasn't at the Walden books where I used to buy my modules back in the day, and I moved on afterwards. But how do you compare the new remade Saltmarsh versus the old one? I mean, regardless of editions, I mean, is it a good, well put together adventure? Do they have things in there that you didn't see in the other one, or vice versa, or how to come down?
Yeah, they've expanded on it by actually providing details of the town, which is useful.
Okay. And they've added in a lot of. They've taken the 3-module campaign, expanded out to 7 episodes by using a number of Dragon magazine conversions and things like that. There are a few. I mean, I've only really read through the first one since the Secret of Saltmarsh, that conversion, and I think there were a few unnecessary changes.
Mm-hmm. But we've seen that in just about everything, haven't we?
Yeah, but of course they have to put their own stamp on everything. And the main change was changing the nature of one of the enemy spellcasters in it, and they just missed the entire point of the original adventure by changing him, which was a bit of a shame. But aside from that, it's been done okay.
Okay, all right, that's cool. Now you said there was 3 parts. The 3. What were the other 2? What do you mean?
They've done U1, U2, and U3 in there. So, but separate.
They put everything in there. Oh, in that one.
Yeah,
book.
In the Ghost of Saltmarsh book, you've got all 3 of them, plus
as John said, you've got other things that they've put in there to get the 7 adventures?
I think it's 7 adventures, 6 or 7.
Yeah, something like that.
They've expanded it out. Yes, yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of the better Wizards of the Coast offerings. And I mean, it's not perfect. I prefer the original because I think the original has a better tone to it, and I think the selection of enemies is better in the original because they have adapted them for 5e expectations, where you have you don't have statted NPCs so much. You have a fixed template for certain types of enemy. You know what I mean? You know what they've done with NPCs, where this is his stats are a sergeant. Use the monster manual sergeant.
Yeah.
In the original, they've got a lot of them have got unique stats, unique spells, and whatever.
I've just opened up the D&D Beyond version of it, so the HTML version. So there are the 7 scenarios, plus there's a whole chapter on Saltmarsh and the background of the factions that are there and things like that. So they've expanded that way. And then there's an appendix of ships and the sea. So there's lots of things about sailing on the sea.
Yeah. That could be cool. I mean, just when they do things like that alone, those 5e modules, it's worth it sometimes. I think the Underdark Adventure had a section about a lot of things you would encounter in the Underdark that were just sort of generic. You could print out those 30 pages or whatever and use it in any campaign. You didn't need to buy their hardcover module for that, you know. If you found the PDF miraculously appeared in your hard drive somewhere, for example, you know, the PDF, we call that the PDF theory around here. Just drops things off randomly, you know.
Anyway, what's the topic we're on at the moment?
I forget.
Manfred appears to be on some form of illegal drugs tonight. He had an adventure that took place in a mug of hot chocolate once.
Wow.
I've heard worse.
Go on.
Really?
Yeah, you can't just say that and not tell me. Come on.
Right. Okay.
Oh, he's getting serious. Glasses off.
So 2 of my roommates were telling me in some unfortunate details that one of their D&D campaigns were where their players were shrunk down and were in a used sock of a deranged wizard. And a lot of the monsters were depictions of various things from there.
Holy shit.
A used sock of a deranged wizard.
I'll spell it out in the private chat.
I think we get the picture.
Yeah,
Well,
I've picked up on it. Yes, I've picked up on it.
That is worse.
Yeah.
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 Of course,
Sorry, that's go the mood. What is the next topic? What's the next environment that we've got on the schedule?
The desert.
I was going to say go to the mundane ones, but then you've got to go to the details. So desert, jungle, cold, and that really comes down to the equipment you're taking with you. And if you want to get into the spells, the special spells you want that are going to help with the environment. But it's
create food
if
and water.
you want to get to that level of detail, it's the equipment that people have.
Yeah, create food and water, stuff like that. Camels, yeah.
Well, I think a lot of when it comes to desert, it's where are you going to? Are you going into the pyramids? Are we going to be seeing mummies? Are we going to be interacting with sphinxes? Are there going to be lamias?
I think the answer is yes. I mean,
Well, the answer is how happy am I going to be? The lamias showing up and going oh, hello there, stranger, and then just take down wisdom, take down wisdom, take down wisdom, and you're enthralled. Off you go. We all know what happens. Not to mention, what are they called again? The centaur lions. Wemmicks, I think they're called.
Sphinx?
Yes.
No, you've got the sphinxes that are the ones that flies. Wemmicks are the ones who are basically centaur lions-ish.
Okay.
I think they're called Wemmicks. But yeah, you've got those that you can get.
The centaur lions, aren't they lamia?
No, you've got the lamias, but you've got those where they've got both. Lamias are the ones where you've got with the lion on the half. You've then got the ones that are snake, which are the nobles, and then you've got, I think they're called Wemmicks. I'm just going to open up Purple Worm now.
Yeah.
Wemmick. Yeah, I think you're right with Wemmicks.
Yeah, you've got Wemmicks who are basically like full blown cat, lion, centaur. Like again, like lots of fun for you to deal with. But what I sometimes like to sneak in. I've not had a lot of desert games. The few
I've had a few. I've had a few, but only when I've been running old AD&D modules for a newer group to show them how the classic modules played out.
Like
And I
Pharaoh or
feel,
something like that.
yeah, but I feel the desert in all of those is grossly underplayed. It's way too small in the original Desert of Desolation series. It's one thing that the super module did right was it making the desert bigger.
It's
it was meant to be this.
It's an expedition. You're going to be going out there. There should be many encounters before you come to any major sites. Before you find an oasis. Not to mention, you should be getting lost. I unless you've got a ranger that specializes in the desert, you should absolutely be rolling those percentile to see if the players get lost and walk in circles.
I don't know how many encounters there would be, though, man, because, I mean, encounters are based on the number of creatures that can live there and the ecology and the ecosystem to really lend itself to much food, food and water, right? I think it would be more the barrenness and the plainness and the getting lost of it all and the struggle to survive would be the hard part, I would think.
There are a number of creatures that have the desert as their home. You've got, is it copper or brass dragons that like deserts?
Yeah. Blue.
I think it's
blue, right?
Well, blue as well, yes.
The evil guy.
No, blue does like it.
Scorpions of all sizes.
Yeah,
very big ones and things.
I've actually got at least the second edition encounters. So you've got 7 to 10 a.m., you've got 7 to 10 p.m., and you've got 3 to 6 a.m. So it's 3 times a day that you've got encounters in deserts, which they're very specific. And you're right, Joe, they're very specific. It's during the times when it is cooler. Once it's hotter, everyone's going to be hiding away.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Imagine a giant camel spider.
Yes. I like this. Thank you.
That'll fuck with your head.
Nope.
No, I'm on board.
Nope.
Iman doesn't like spiders.
No. Not just any spider. Camel spiders.
Exactly.
Those things fucking annoyed the shit out of like troops in the desert. Like modern soldiers in the desert hate those fucking things.
Dude, you want to horrify?
Imagine one the size of a fucking, Jeep.
I'm just looking up camel spider.
If you want to really horrify them, the hell with camel spiders, camel toe spiders. That will scare the shit out of your players.
I do remember one of my colleagues whose brother is in the British Army talked about the entire. Sorry.
Look what Nerd wrote.
No, sorry. A giant camel spider is called.
Camel spider. True.
That fucking
makes sense already. Makes sense. Well, yeah. No, definitely. Think of all the creatures that are poisonous in places like Australia or in the desert. And I'll think of all the encounters that you are going to be having with creatures that are considered to be large, so no more than the size of a cat, and a quick sting or bite, and your character's now on the ground rolling save or die.
Camel spiders already they're already in AD&D. Solifugids.
Okay.
If you look at the name of the camel spider family, Solifugi. That's the Latin name for them. They're already in there.
I was going to say, based on what Sax just said, could we consider Australia its own environment to venture in?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, drop bears. You'd be at home there.
It's just 6 feet from the surface of the sun,
Let me just say, Australia should be its own environment. They definitely should be.
Australia, it's its own mega campaign.
Bunyips and the locals.
I mean, just look at how. Like Bondi Beach, one of the most popular beaches in Australia. And there are just lifeguards all over the place. Why? Because that current will pull you out. And out there are reefs that will rip you to shreds, and there are currents that will drag you down.
And there's little shellfish about this long that have a tongue that can reach 360 degrees of their body. And when they hit you, one barb is enough to kill you. But they don't do one barb when they kill you. They do like 10 barbs when they fucking hit you. Because Australia is the fucking ancient alien bioweapon testing ground that they left behind when they fucking left the planet. My God.
Blue ring octopus, yeah, things like that.
The blue ring octopus, yes. But don't realize about Bondi Beach is how steep it is, and the waves are massive, just a few feet from shore.
Yes,
it's not a very big beach, though, is it? Really?
No,
no. I've been there. There's nothing.
I've
more
been there.
fun
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking up, it's just like, oh, would you look at that wave? It's twice as big as me. I'm 6 foot. Look at what's coming down upon me. Off I go back onto the shore.
And then you get to put in bogans.
Oh, fucking hell.
Have you ever dealt with bogans over there in the UK? Because we deal with them here in Canada quite often. They all like to come to fucking Whistler to go skiing, and they are the most obnoxious Australians that have ever lived.
But yes, everything does want to kill you in Australia.
Everything.
Everything. Yes. I've got some good stories to tell about my time in Australia. It was a lot of fun. I survived, obviously. Most of it was spent in Australian bars, drinking Australian beer.
Okay, the first time I went there, I was on the 9th floor of an hotel, and I came back from the office one day, went up, and inside, and the window had been shut, and inside there's a huntsman on the window, and it's as big as my hand.
Those fucking things, dude. Jesus Christ.
And my first thought, I'll take a photograph of it. And the second is, so am I going to get it out of here? I'll let it go when it wants to,
Fucking Aussies love to go, they're as homeless as kittens. Yeah, they're also the size of dinner plates. Fuck you.
I specifically recall throwing a shoe across the house we were staying in because I saw a spider the size of my hand, and I just went, no, that thing has to die right now. that was just like, that's like, I've not had a problem with spiders, but the moment I saw things of that size, I went, no, these things need to be
eradicated. Did you level up after that combat, dude? It sounds like a big one.
You're playing PRP. Did you have to do a skill roll at the end in your thrown weapon to see if you leveled up on it, man?
I saw a meme and it said Australia, where spiders are so big they have health bars.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus. One of my brothers, his friends, is Australian. He was talking about that he almost put his shoe into his feet into one of the shoes, but he went, no, I've got to tap them. He tapped them, and like one of the most deadliest spiders came crawling out, and he was like, no, like that was a life or death situation. Like, where if that spider bit him, it would have been, get to the hospital.
Okay, Sydney funnel web spiders, have fangs so big and so hard, and they do this thing where they rear themselves back to strike because their fangs are so big. When they hit, their fang can penetrate a toenail. Okay? That's how fucking hard. Now, blow that motherfucker up to 10 feet, and imagine what he's going to do to that plate-mailed fucking paladin.
I just want to bring up something. Just something to play around with for us as DMs. Just take everything we've now discussed and bear in mind that the drow breed spiders like this, but large enough to ride them.
Oh no.
Yes. Just because, we've just talked about the Underdark, and we're talking about Australia, and of course, everything needs.
What would the Australian Underdark be like?
Exactly. They come from a land down under.
Blue ring elithids.
Saxious, where's your notepad?
I've known this for years. I'm just getting the chance to actually let this loose.
Oh God.
Oh fuck no.
What kind of giant spiders?
I'm sorry. I'm in a dilemma because I've convinced my current real life group to go on a sea campaign, but on the other hand, I do know I can quickly buy a campaign to take them into the Underdark. Should I? Which one would be more fun for me?
Oh, I would do both.
Any
port in a storm blows them into a cave that takes them to the Underdark.
Cody, but sorry, that is
That is
a compliment I am going to take with me to my grave. Saxious, the
This is
DM.
the DM my mom warned me about. Jesus Christ.
I don't know. Okay, I am very transparent what I'm like as a DM, and yet people keep on showing up to my games. I don't think I'm the problem.
It sounds like you got a bunch of masochists. Honestly, who just are as your players. I mean, heard a lot of talk about whipping coming out of you before too. I don't know, just some S&M theme-ish thing going on here, you know. So
Listen, they might have misunderstood DM from Dungeon Master to something else.
yeah, DMS and I know SM. Change a letter. I mean, it's very close though. Sounds like.
Dude, I just
Saxious
fuck with
is
them
the
socially.
sadist, and we're all the
I just fuck with their characters' lives and make them hate themselves. You fucking are evil.
Come on, Bear, have you never texted a player and said roll a save or die while between sessions? Have you never done that?
No.
No? Okay.
No, my players just tell me to fuck off. It's not game day.
What?
This is exactly why a group of 3 experienced players got together and chose to play goblins and torment Saxious in a game.
That's fair.
You know it, don't you, Saxious? You know it.
You deserve to die. I'll get you in another campaign.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. So the desert, Australia. Yeah, I mean, just make the desert like Australia. I mean, it is a big desert. It's not your traditional Sahara-like desert, but it's a more interesting desert. It's a more challenging desert in terms of the denizens rather than the environment.
What's the monster in D&D? I think it's in 2nd edition that lies in the sand and it projects the image of an oasis as an illusion, and then when you get to it, it just fucking folds up like a starfish and starts eating you.
Dust Digger.
I think maybe is it Dust Digger? I don't know. That's
cool.
Drop dragons. Hey, Seraphis showed up. Hey, Sarah, we're talking about Australia.
Hi. So desert.
That's
yeah,
right. Dust Digger.
I think for deserts, making a desert like the Sahara, while it sounds like on paper a good idea to bring out the Saxious type game and make them keep a really clear record of all the excess water they have to carry, it's a lot more fun if you make your desert like Australia. A lot more fun.
Yeah, I agree with that.
No, I agree. Absolutely. 10 out of 10. Would throw my players into that.
10 out of 10 would repeat.
Yes.
Hello, Elfbait.
Hello, Eli.
How's it going?
Are you going to provide a counterpoint to the evilness of Saxious?
I have not heard the last hour of the conversation, unfortunately.
Listen, we just need to bring the wonders of Australia into all of our games.
Wonders of Australia.
Yes.
So a lot of nothing with an occasional deadly spider.
No. We were talking about Bondi Beach as an adventure, as an encounter location where you're trying to fight whatever the fuck it is, and those waves are coming in and trying to wash your party out to sea. And then we got the concept of what would the Australian Underdark be like, and then we got into the fucking Blue Ring Illithids, and it went places, man. The next game is going to be fucking vicious.
Listen, I still think it's tame for me to throw out the idea for a ocean-based game of a whale showing up with mind-controlled Kuatoas that's controlled by an aboleth. I think that was tame, but for some reason...
No. The fact that you were saying that the blue whale opens its mouth and shoots these mind-controlled Kuatoa at them was the point that I was like, what the fuck, dude? What?
I just had this image of the bunch of Kuatoa riding the back of a humpback whale like Dune and sandworms, just all lined up on the back of this thing, diving off.
Isn't that how they always show the Atlanteans attacking in Marvel? When Namor's people show up.
Either way, I like it.
He always did with the whales and everything fucking Marvel always did some Leviathan creature that the Atlanteans
That
just
is true.
stomp all over Lower Manhattan. You know.
Yeah, it's true because Namor has access to all the Lovecraftian horrors of the deeps, evidently.
Exactly.
Oh, joy. Anyway,
Which is awesome. I mean, why not?
And look at that, we're back on underwater shit again.
That's
Where-
he got us off topic.
Listen,
Zach,
we're
what are
on
you doing,
topic.
man?
Excuse me. I am treating myself after 12 hours of working logistics to a drink.
Fair enough.
Oh, right.
What's the
Okay.
next
There's
location, John?
Well, you
Next
hit
location. So, just for Eli's benefit, we've done underwater, we've done in the air, we've done the underdark, and we've just touched on deserts.
Australia.
Australia,
Yeah,
basically.
Australia. It's not desert.
Badlands, Scrablands, stuff like that. Yeah.
So
Well, given they got
I'm
jungles and wetlands and whatever else as well, you can do
Jungle
a lot in
is the next
Australia.
one.
Yeah,
Jungle
seriously,
is the next one.
Fantasy Australia is like a Conan stress test. You know what I mean? Like, think
For
about it.
jungles, I just got this. So
What's that?
Oh
What was
yeah,
those?
yeah, yeah.
it's a dinosaur book for D&D written by paleontologists.
Oh, nice.
It's actually really cool. It's one part science book, one part D&D book.
Huh.
So
Well, that would be good for Cholt and the Tomb of Annihilation. So
yep.
That'd be good for your By the Sword game as well. I imagine that's why you've picked it up.
What's neat is they present them all in their pure dinosaur state, and then they have a bunch of fantasy add-ons you can plug into each of them. But it's pretty cool.
So we're going to go deserts now. Not deserts. Jungles.
Jungles.
Yeah,
Jungles.
that's why I pulled that up.
Jungles.
Jungles are
Now, jungles are,
snakes,
yes.
insects, whatever else,
Just
Diseases.
pygmies.
Parasites.
Yeah.
well, and you
where
can,
do I begin?
jungles have so much that you can use to circumvent armor. I had a party that managed to camp in the wrong place and just camped in the track of an ant swarm. Not giant ants, just regular biting, stinging jungle ants. Getting a bunch of those down your plate mail is not good.
Hard to get out. Oh, Jesus, that's good.
Best place for man-eating plants as well. So
Oh yeah, man-eating plants, jungle undead are really great too.
Yep.
Because often they might appear as just somebody who died and are laying on the edge of the track.
Saxious, you have your finger up.
I do. I just want to bring up the amount of noise that you have in the jungle. Because 24/7, there are going to be animals that are going to be awake. Almost by like every 3 or 4 hours, there's like a time shift for another animal. You are going to have a hard time sleeping. So, the wizards and the clerics getting their well rest to memorize those spells.
You are an evil
Stop-
bastard.
No, I am making the world be alive, which means that you have to suffer to enjoy it. My point is,
just
if
like
you
real
want-
life, huh?
Exactly. but exactly. Like there are certain things that are just meant to be, death, taxes, and Saxious being a bastard. So for you to do something like that, you're gonna be having like Leomund's tiny hut, for example. You're gonna want that to, drown out all that thing, but that's gonna cost you a spell slot. And now we're back onto resource management, logistics. Oh no, it's a loop. And you're gonna be having all that follows with it. And sure, you're going to be stopping all the things from, burrowing in, getting out. But again, yes, you might just be able to get, those, 6 to 8 hours worth of sleep. You can get your spells in and move on. But there is the expectation of you being a certain level just to get that spell, assuming the DM has given it to you. If you haven't gotten it, if you haven't come that prepared, well, what are you going to do? You're going to be having critters all over you. You're going to be having encounters. And I assume that, well, I don't know who has watched it, but I've seen an interview with Joe Rogan with a guy who goes out into I mean proper jungle. I mean Brazilian Amazon jungle, where he's got, tents set up where it's like, no, he climbs a tree to set up, so that's a bit of an exaggeration. He sets up his tent and there's a a predator of the night. He thinks it's a jaguar or something of that form that is curious about him, but him moving around, it just snarls. You're going to be having creatures like that getting into your camp. Why? Because you're unusual. You're on its territory, and it's curious for what you are. You're going to have to deal with that. You're going to be having to deal with the fact that you're going to be having the natural, like monkeys, going, "Oh, you've put your backpack up in our tree. We're just going to take that. We're going to open up, spread it all over the place, and what you're going to have lost rations." And
That's
I
kind of
haven't
cool.
even.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's what they do. We're not even touching on the monsters that you're going to be dealing with. Hell, I would be going so far as to say displacer beasts would be quite territorial with you coming into their area. I would be going so far as to say you're going to be coming into conflicts where you're going to be hearing the screeching and the howls between an owl bear and a displacer beast, if you're lucky. And if you're really, really unlucky, there is going to be a camouflaged snake man, aka a Yonti, who is going to point at all the branches above you and cast sticks to snakes. And you're going to have to deal with that as a distraction while it is casting all of the mind-bending spells upon you, charm person, hypnotism, suggestions, the whole 9 yards. And you are going to be in a world of pain. Why? Because you are about to be broken down, taken in. And it is just going to be hell on earth because they have got 17 to 18 intelligence per creature. And that's just the first ones that's coming to my mind.
See, when I'm thinking of all these environments, my mind doesn't go straight towards the fantastic. My mind goes towards using and abusing the mundane, the things that are much more real world. When I think of the jungle, I'm thinking straight away of tribes of pygmies with blowguns, with darts that have been dipped, that have been touched against the frogs' skins that dwell in these regions.
The encounter in the jungle should be poisoned.
Yeah. I mean, the most poisonous land-dwelling creature on the planet is a frog that is about the size of your thumbnail, and it looks like a sweet little thing, and it's golden and cute. But if you touch it, you're dead.
Have you ever heard the screams of terror from players when they realize that the enemies that they're fighting is not trying to kill them, but trying to take them alive? It is wonderful when the bolasses are being thrown out at the spellcasters. It is awesome when you start having to describe the fact that the paralysis poisoned darts that are hitting the warrior is now making his sword arm go limp. And when
that beautifully concealed pit opens up beneath them, and they're tangled in netting.
And when the enemy reveals that they can cast Speak with Animal, and they're making the horses stop running around for the players, suddenly their mobility is taken away from them. This is what you do to players in the jungle.
You start infecting your players with trench foot and jungle rot.
Oh, I haven't even gotten there. Diseases are a whole separate thing, and parasites.
Diseases! Yes, diseases!
Yes! we haven't gotten into like the rot of your food and how that's going to be affecting you. Yes,
malaria
is going to be affected.
What about malaria?
Seven other players is going to be affected.
The one thing though to consider though, if you throw everything that a jungle has to use against your players, nobody's going to want to play.
No one's going to survive.
You have to temper it.
Yes.
I mean, there's like that whole, there's in this South America, if you, a certain river, if you're pissing it, these little critters swim up your stream. To get into your
what are they called? Because of the sea. They're bullshit. It's like drop.
Oh, the Candira, not Arapaima. Arapaima are the big fish that'll knock you out.
It's the second one, yeah.
Now, those are real. Or, hey, have you ever seen those fucking aerial photographs of those really big fucking anacondas in the Amazon?
I don't need that.
Right. Sorry to interrupt. I do love straw piglets.
Indiro, he's got it. Yeah.
I thought it was with a C.
No, I think it was Kindiru. I'm pretty sure.
It
it's that
is
one.
Kendiru, yeah. Kendiru is the penis fish.
Yeah.
But
Kendiru,
the urethra fish. And then there's
Kendiru.
I was confusing it with the arapaima, which are the big old armored fish that will chuck themselves up out of the water. Not like the ones in the rivers in Texas, but the arapaima they do a strike where they can knock a person out if they connect with your head.
They're not mentioning piranha here yet either. I mean, that's a whole different, Jesus.
Yes, but don't be like every movie producer and put them on every continent where they didn't exist. This is to the point where, like, when Disney did its Tarzan animated series, make a joke about the piranhas. But what about piranhas? Because every movie used to put piranhas in the river, and they're not.
What about quicksand?
Oh, quicksand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, just
I
mud.
forget that.
Just straight up mud. I remember as a kid getting stuck up to my waist in mud, and that was in a construction site, let alone the jungle.
You could have unique trees in a jungle too that have roots that are partially above ground, making for like caverns or shelters or caves and stuff, and whole underdark systems just based in roots and earth.
There's that one real world
picking
tree
you up,
that causes so
putting
much
you in.
pain it'll make you want to kill yourself.
Where's the tree that has the exploding fruit?
That's the same tree, I think. The one that has exploding fruit also has the sap that will make you want to kill yourself.
Oh, that's nice.
Which monsters is it?
Why the fuck do people live in the jungle again?
The sap burns so badly and causes so much continuous pain that there's a guy who got dripped a drop of the sap from the tree on him and spent the rest of his life in crippling pain.
That makes sense.
I just want you to read Kabuki Kid's comment here, and then remember the
pee-pee fish,
and then remember the tried and tested means that people most commonly use to cure somebody of rot grubs. You apply flame to the wound. So can you imagine? Imagine your fighter goes for a leak in the jungle. A rot grub pee-pee fish jumps in, and everybody else pulls out torches and goes, "We must treat this infestation."
I am going to repeat
he just
what
takes
my
his
players
dagger
did.
and goes, "Good night."
I'm just going to repeat what my players did. You just cast enlarge person, you do a quick snip, and you just cast a little bit of healing. All you have to do is survive a system shock, maybe with
You
some
might need
penalties.
a little more than healing. I think you need a restoration spell after that one.
Yeah, well,
regeneration.
Listen. You're young. You're not thinking in generations just yet.
Well, if you're my players, you've already cast enlargement on your junk anyway. So really,
yeah. I'll say hello, Daniel. We haven't said hello to you. How are you doing, Daniel?
How are you guys doing? I'm doing all right.
I agree, Daniel. Nuns are cool.
So a question though about all this, I don't disagree with what you're saying at all about using the environment and everything else, but how many groups have you got that will put up with that sort of thing indefinitely?
Save versus size.
Then that's what I was saying earlier. Like you can only use so much of the horrors of any environment before your players are just going to say no. They're just going to table flip on you at a certain point.
Yeah, you have got to be selective with how you use it.
It's really funny. I'd like to make a point really quick, if you don't mind. But we always have that joke about Dungeon Master. Is that a sex thing? And it's like, no, it's not a sex thing, Jen. Sax is like a Dom Dungeon Master, and his sub players keep showing up to be
that's
tortured.
what I said before. He's the sadist and they're the masochist.
He's more like
that's exactly what it is. He's not a DM. He's an SM.
I'm on 4 different campaigns who've been putting up with this bullshit. It's just like I'm ruling out the generic stuff from me at least. But I'm like thinking of like 4 different campaigns where they've actually said, you know what? Yeah, we'll go into this, and I've tried to go into this to the level that I've at least tried to describe here, if that helps, Andy.
Let's talk
about that's me. Like I don't know. Like I tell players,
campaign scares me. I played with Saxious. Do your worst.
Your players have Stockholm syndrome, Saxious. That's what it is. They're just identifying with their captor / abuser /
Okay, so I have actually made that joke to my current real life group that they probably suffer from Stockholm syndrome because they keep on showing up after okay, so most of the players were like, hey, done maybe like 3 sessions of D&D, or I've never done D&D, or I did D&D like 20, 30 years ago, and I'd like to try again. I went, okay, let's play Ravenloft.
Yeah.
So they've gone through that. They're still there. They're still going. We feel abused, but we keep coming back.
So let's move on.
One last point on jungles. We've talked about the real world stuff that jungles can throw at you. I would say the one cool thing about the jungles in general are so sort of mysterious and exotic that you can overlay that onto a lot of fantasy monsters, or you can easily make the mundane more fantastical and have it be believable, because jungles are that place where you go to run into that thing that nobody's ever seen. Simple modifications of real world creatures, like, is it a monkey or is it a blood monkey? Yeah,
I mean, it is still very much an alien environment to people who live in the civilized world.
Like the Sioux monster. It looks like kind of like a baboon thing. Is that what it's called?
The Sioux monster, the psychic monkeys from Monster Manual.
Yeah.
You can get away with a lot of very alien creatures and have it still feel quite natural in the jungle.
Yeah, even crazy bugs. Like everybody expects a crazy bug or a crazy lizard or a crazy snake in the jungle.
I took one of the monkey variants from AD&D 2nd edition, where they're basically described as having above average intelligence, enough that they understand the rudimentary common. And I just basically said, these are the offsprings of apes that had survived in an area where magic concentration was so high that they mutated into their own genetic pool. And that was just accepted because it was magic, and the players were dealing with Yuan-Ti. So they're like, yep, we've entered Chernobyl.
You didn't go with the Lovecraftian explanation that this is a race of intelligent apes that descended from men having relations with apes? That was his big... Remember that whole Lovecraftian...
A planet where apes descended from men?
My grandfather... the horror that was revealed that makes him lose all his sanity is to find out that his mother was a gorilla!
Well,
one story where the guy finds out his mom or his grandmother was a white gorilla that his dad had brought home from the jungle.
Gotta love that. Anyway, John, please, what is the next subject? What other things can we bring out the horrors of whatever?
Of your mind, really. That's really
I don't know. I'm fired up. I have things to contribute here. I don't know why. It's great.
The Arctic. The Arctic is the next one.
The Nine Hells, the Abyss.
We'll come to that next. We'll come to the planes
I told
next.
you, the Nine Hells and the Abyss. I don't know how many sessions I've been in those. It's been fun.
But we're going to go to the Arctic next.
There you go.
Oh boy!
Lots of big woolly and furry creatures that have big sharp teeth and are going to jump on you.
Do you think you can take on a walrus? Because a walrus thinks it can take on you.
Yeah.
Walrus people.
Exactly.
I'm going to go down a limb and say, as the northernmost based person in this conversation, y'all don't need walruses to challenge your fucking party in the Arctic.
Are you further north than Iman?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think it is. I don't think Montreal is further north than
further north as in Canada, John, and I've lived further north. I've lived in places where it's almost permanently winter.
Sorry, I've got to step in. John, we're talking about a country where they have actual freaking snow.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
thinking of geography. I think
I'm just saying, having lived through winter,
wrong.
Eli knows what I'm talking about now that he's in the Midwest. Winter is something that until you experience real winter, you don't know what the fuck winter is.
I've even had real winter being in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it happens, but it's not real winter. It's cute for a couple of days, maybe a week.
It
I
did
just
a lot
wasn't-
more.
When you're like looking at the end of like the third month of hell, and you're like, God, does this winter ever fucking end?
No, Bear. All you have
but-
to do is go east of the mountains, and you have that. And watch.
Yeah, that's true.
London,
But
London is
hang on.
further north than Montreal.
But still,
Okay, good for him. It doesn't get winter like we do. Okay, you happy now? Fuck.
I could beat you
Well,
on that one, dude. I used to, although I'm in America.
When was the last time it was minus 40 in February where you live?
It isn't. It isn't. I'm just being a pedant.
You are.
No, you're being wrong, John. You're being wrong in every sense of the word.
Anyway, the point
like 10
being,
miles from the ocean.
snow blindness is a real thing. Frostbite is a real thing.
Yes.
They talk about drum sand. Well, you have drum snow, where it looks like it's completely solid. The next thing you know, you're fucking over your head in soft pack snow. Fucking ice caves are a real thing. You don't
Crevices
need
covered in
animals
ice
and
and snow.
monsters. You don't need that shit to kill people in the Arctic. Trust me.
Have you seen some of the
itself will
videos?
do you in.
Have you seen some of the videos of the people who are out in Greenland and they just stumble a bit and then boom, there's a cavern like several hundred feet going down into the ground and you're gone. No one will come and help you. You are gone. You are dead from the impact. And if you somehow by miraculous ways survive, you're so deep down, people are not going to be able to get down and get you. You will die.
You're in the
It is
Underdark.
terrifying.
Sounds like you're in the
you could
Underdark at that
literally
point.
slip down one of those crevices and end up on the underside of a glacier.
Yeah, but you're gone.
Whiteout conditioned snow. Okay?
Yeah.
If you're not tethered together in whiteout conditioned snow, you're going to all be lost. You're going to be all going in different directions eventually because you can't see shit.
I used to
It's
live.
crazy.
I lived in the
wave
Rockies
this
in
around again.
Colorado.
So what was that,
No.
Joe?
Oh, great.
John, listen,
Nice.
I understand the module. I understand the concept it's trying to bring around. The only personal experience I've had for anything of those situations is when I went to Harbin. Harbin in northern China. That is when I experienced true winter, because that is near Siberia. That is cold.
I bet.
It is so cold when you come out, you try to breathe in, and you go, "Oh no, this was a mistake. My lungs hurt now. It is so cold. I am feeling pain in my chest because the cold is giving me a system shock." That right there, that is what an Arctic environment is like.
Yeah.
And you are supposed to acclimatize as you go down there. But if you go from one to the other, and I'm speaking from having gone from like from a hotel air conditioned environment into straight up minus 20 degrees Celsius, no.
Oh my
Just
God, minus
no.
20 degrees Celsius, you poor fucking summer child.
Yeah.
Minus 20 is a beautiful balmy day in winter.
Yeah, I know you're talking as someone who has probably experienced it. This is the closest I've come to it, and I understand.
Oh, it's insane, dude. I've seen it so cold where you do the water thing where you throw the water in the air and it's
boiling.
frozen.
Yeah, just boiling water. It will freeze immediately. It doesn't.
That's nuts.
It's insane.
I haven't seen that level of cold, but I lived in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado for a
you
few
get
years.
cold there.
I got cold, and I was living at 9,000 or 10,000 feet, and there was some times where I volunteered at this like an agricultural project. It was 2 hours on Jeep trails to get there, and there was no human beings around for miles other than like me and a couple of dogs. And it's like you see the bear, you see the mountain lion, you're in this like 15-foot camper that was made 30 years ago that ain't keeping you warm. You get every article of clothing on you that you can. I mean, the snow, you're going to get some snow means you might get 3 feet in overnight. I've been there for like 4 feet. When I lived in Denver, we had like 48 fucking inches of snow straight. We got it, one time I remember talking about falling in snow, dude, going into I was driving over the Rockies. I hit the Continental Divide. That is where the ice from the Rocky Mountains will either go to the east or go to the west, right? That is the midpoint. And so I'm like, well, I'm getting out right here and I'm going to piss in the snow so that when it melts, I want piss on both sides of the continent. I want it to hit both sides. So I get out of my car and I start walking over to the, where I figure I could piss. I hit one of those spots. And if you got your dick and your balls out, and you're going to drop into snow that goes up to your fucking waist, it is not fun. All right. It interrupted the flow is all I could say.
So here's the thing about the extreme cold that you guys will never understand until you've lived through it.
Yeah, I don't
you
want to.
want it to snow. And the reason you want it to snow is the
warm.
snow takes it's not that it's warm, but it takes the bite out of the air.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So your skin isn't freezing because it's so
It brings
amazing.
humidity.
Well, yeah,
On a
to
beautiful
snow, it has
winter's
to be
night
at
when you're
least
walking in the woods and there's like a nice light snow falling, it's the most insanely serene, beautiful, and creepy thing you can do in your life. And you can totally imagine an abominable snowman coming out from those fucking pine trees over there. And at night in winter, you can see a lot fucking further than in summer. Okay, let's just put that straight
Oh
up.
yeah, that is definitely true.
You know,
Saxious has had his hand up.
That's right. My point.
Snow, cold, Colorado, pissing over the
It's
Continental
gone.
Divide. What?
No, it's gone. It's generally I can't remember it.
Oh. But we have a wide range of interesting monsters you can pull out of your backside when running a polar campaign. Most of which will be rather hungry, and looking to eat the party.
Just polar bears.
Polar bears.
Polar bears
Yeti.
don't give a fuck.
Yetis.
They don't.
I
They
love
don't.
Yetis.
And they will be driven by hunger.
Yeah.
And the monster is driven by hunger that will grab a body and aim to take it away and devour it. It's always going to scare.
Sorry, did I mention when I did 3.5, I actually did the stats for a dire penguin. Because why not?
You mean the real penguins that existed?
Yeah, but just make them the size of a bear and aggressive.
Prehistoric penguins were that big.
Yeah. No, sorry. Walrus pierces.
Can we rename the stream to reasons why not to play in Saxious' games? Or
Why,
reasons
I
why
am a fun
Saxious is an
DM.
evil
So I stand by my statement. I am a fun DM. I give you challenges, you overcome them, you feel good about yourself.
Let's say,
Saxious, do you have a YouTube channel, Saxious? Because I don't follow you, and if you do, I learned all your tricks so I can inflict this pain on my players.
I am trying to get into it. I'm just struggling to do the whole writing of how to start my videos, and I keep on being told just to press play and start talking.
That's kind of it, yeah.
I think Iman. I was talking to Iman recently about different people's DMing styles, and Saxious is very much a detail-orientated DM. He will bring the details to games, and he will use those details creatively, and make those details important.
Well,
if there's something that you've forgotten about, he definitely hasn't.
I just want to I want to bring home a point. I've mentioned it several times before. In my second edition game, 13 sessions in, I had the players go into some hills. They encountered a werewolf. They defeated the werewolf and they picked up a knife. I described that there was a symbol on the knife and they moved on. A year and a half, real life later, there was a situation where the players were picking up some details, and one of the players went, "Wait, I remember from my notes a year and a half ago, you mentioned something about something similar." And I just heard, the sounds of someone going through their pages and going, these details. And I went, "You son of a bitch." I gave it to him. No rules, no nothing. He got it. And I revealed what should have been at least 4 to 6 months of cat and mouse between the players and the big bad of the arc, which were the Yonti. And they got to shortcut all of that because one person paid attention.
John, I propose, and we can put this to a group vote on the panel, that we just rename this stream not Adventures in Odd Lands, but Save versus Saxious. I think that should be the name of this stream. Good God, man. You either are going to have people wanting to play in your games or running screaming if they see you at a convention.
Your wish is my command.
Awesome.
I've given way too much credit than I deserve, but okay.
Look, I'm a prick. I'm a dick DM. Okay, I will make your characters care about shit and then torment you with it. I go into the head of the character. Like, fuck him on. Am I lying, John? Am I lying? How I fuck with your characters? No, I don't fuck with you with dice. I don't fuck with you with monsters. I fuck with you with your character. You, sir, are evil. I'm a dick. You're evil. There's a difference.
I give myself the alignment of lawful evil. Hey, I follow the rules, buds.
That's
the
fair.
rules are there. Yeah, the
I think
rules
that
can
is
be
fair.
used against you.
What was that, Iman?
That is completely fair.
Yeah, it is, man.
You look up lawful evil, it's just Saxious just sat there grinning.
This is Asmodeus in disguise. I knew he looked familiar.
It's just him holding out a contract. You know?
At the
Oh
bottom.
no, the things I've done with warlock characters.
Oh God! Hey guys, I got to drop it. Thank you very much for having me. It was a great time as always. I'll see you
Thank
soon.
you, Joe.
All right.
Cheers,
Thank
Joe.
you very much. Bye bye.
Right, so yeah, we've just whisked very quickly over Arctic, and as we can probably tell,
I don't know. I thought I said quite a bit about that. Thank you.
Oh, quite a bit, yes.
yeah. And
the environment really
my
is
only
the
point, I mean, I wasn't saying that we here in Britain we live in colder conditions than you. I was just, it was a point of pedantry.
Yes. We all are aware of your point of pedantry, and it can't
Yes,
possibly
yeah.
come back to bite you in the ass next time we all play.
No, of course it can't. Of course it can't. But the point of pedantry is the most northern dwelling person here is sat to the other side of you from me.
Technically,
geographically,
I disagree on
not
every point there.
climatologically, though.
Why, Saxious? You live in the south of England.
Yeah, and where do I come from?
Denmark.
Yeah, and how much further north is that than you?
Yeah, no, I think that is further north.
It's around northern England's Scottish border area.
Yeah, so shut up.
Although I did just recently find out that the city on the planet that gets the most snow out of any is, oddly enough, in Japan.
Yeah,
They get like 22 feet a year.
Yeah, that's up in the Northern Islands, though, isn't it?
It's actually at the northern tip of the Middle Island.
Okay,
But it's all the cold air coming off of Asia that goes across the water, picks up all the moisture. But 22 feet of snow a year. They showed the pictures of it, and it's like a bus driving against this wall of snow that is not a glacier or an ice pack or anything. It's literally the snow built up. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
And then Moscow is the northernmost capital, I think, in the world, and that tells you everything you need to know about Moscow.
I think no, Reykjavik. It's Reykjavik.
Was Reykjavik further north than Moscow?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But Moscow's cold. Moscow's colder.
Fuck, is Moscow cold?
Yeah.
No, I do know a guy who originates from Siberia, and it's just when I talk about cold to him, it's just like I am Russian.
We have a horrible view of Siberia. Okay, our view of Siberia is that it's just this vast ice wasteland,
It's
right?
not. It's
I know
forest.
tons of people. I know tons of people from Siberia, and they've shown me pictures. It's Canada. It's just Canada and Russia.
Siberia's big enough. It's got.
I'm not picturing tundras and just a
Thunder and
desert.
forests and mosquitoes in the summer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what most Westerners think when they think Siberia. They think Greenland. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
There is a part of Siberia that has the highest variation in temperature on the planet. There's one particular region. There was a city there, and they commonly experience plus 30 degrees Celsius in the summer and minus 70 to 80 in the winter.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it,
That sounds like my wife's heart.
Wow, because Montreal's bad. We go plus 40
Damn.
and higher in the summer, and we go minus 40 and lower in the winter. But Jesus, minus 70? Good.
On that note, John, please take us to our next subject because we've got 30 minutes left.
I thought we were in the goofball part. I'm sorry.
No, we're not having a goofball part tonight. We're going. I don't have any experience of planes hopping, but that's another different environment. Any of you ever run games on alternative planes?
Which one?
Go on,
negative.
Saxious.
That's fun.
Go on.
Oh, sorry,
Go
Ben.
on.
Have you actually done the negative plane?
I've never done plane hopping. It has no interest for me.
Oh, okay.
No.
Astral Plane, Abyss, Inferno. Oh god, what's it called? The one where like this consistent war thing is Yugalov?
Happy Hunting Grounds.
Yes, something like that. I've taken them to the northern, or well, I say the Scandinavian realms. I've taken them to Olympia. I've done a bunch of things. Which ones do we want to start with? Let's just start with the fun ones, Hell and the Abyss, because the deeper you go, you see the penalties are mechanically just into the whole thing of like you come in here, what's that? You've got a +1 sword, that's a normal sword. You go deeper in, that becomes a negative sword, so on and so on. It's fun. You know what's just as fun? Fighting demonic trolls that are naturally invisible. See, that is where it starts getting a little bit more interesting, and the fact that they've got fell damage, which of course you're going to start having necrotic damage, which is a permanent reduction to your health until you get it healed by holy magic. Yeah.
John, can you bring up Owlbear on screen and let us all roll versus, like I say, versus Saxious, please?
No, none of us can pass. It's too.
Saxious, I've never seen you so happy.
I'm just listen. When you're going into the other planes, you need to come prepared. Which is one of the reasons why you don't go into the plane of fire without having fire resistance and the ability to breathe in the lands. Otherwise, you're going to be like some of the slaves who are just burning and crying in the streets, made out of brass. That's fun. Anyway, beside that, so you've got, of course, the abyssal level where you go down, and it's just going to keep on getting worse. But you've also got all of the different demon lords. You've got the Inferno, the Hell, where you've got very specific rules for each and every single level. Again, it roughly equivalates, but by the time you get down to the 9th level, I believe your 5th level is going to be your +5 level sword is going to be a +1, and there's going to be a whole bunch of other problems. Like, again, you're going to have new energy drain. You're going to be having problems with your spells. Christ, I'm trying to think of like some of the other ones. It's escaping my mind at the moment. But there's also some of the other fun ones where you start going into like the positive plane, where the deeper into the positive plane you go, the more powerful you become, the more infused you become until you pop. And I've seen players bring a goblin along on a leash. And the moment that the goblin pops, that's the moment that they have to turn back and leave, because that is the canary in the coal mine, because that is the warning signs that they're now reaching to the point of where when a goblin is so infused with positivity and righteousness that they have to release themselves from their body and become an ethereal form, that's when the actual good guys probably should leave.
In case I haven't made this clear, I am never fucking playing D&D with Saxious ever. Because even the nice shit in Saxious' game can kill you.
But
I think you
it
mentioned
makes
it once or
sense.
twice. Yeah.
But it makes sense though. Like, you're going into the plane of positivity. The further in you go, the more infused you become, the more empowered you become, and eventually you just leave your natural body because you don't need your mortal shell anymore. Maybe I'm just taking things to its logical conclusion. Maybe I'm just insane. But it's
Why choose? Why choose? Why not just have a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B there, brother?
I have started a poll for chat.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh. Is Saxious insane? Is that the poll?
No.
Would you like to play in a Saxious campaign? I know what I'm voting.
Can I still vote no, even though I'm in one?
Yeah, exactly.
I have played in one. It wasn't that bad.
Okay. Would you want to play in a Saxious campaign based on what Saxious has been talking shit about tonight?
No.
I do want to point out that with that way, there we go. The game that Eli was in, I think we had a very specific idea for what we wanted.
Yeah.
And we were going for that. So I tried to stay on the topic of what we agree as a group. If we agree that we want to go through, the trials and tribulations of certain environments, then absolutely, I'll go through with that. The game that we chose with that Eli jumped in on was more about exploration. It was about going out, finding out things, and we just happen to hitch up about the thing of like, hey, Dagon's around. Would you look at that? The horrors of the deep seas is here. Go on, Bear.
I'd like to change my vote to I would absolutely love to play in a Saxious game with the following caveat.
Yeah.
It's 5th edition or the new 5th edition, so my character has a higher survivability rate. And
well, this is one thing I wanted to say. Thank you for making it
heroic. There's a second caveat. Hang on. Hold that thought, Iman. And the agreement of the campaign is have fun, Saxious. Exercise your demons.
Okay.
No, there you go. What did you say, Iman?
Thank you for making it heroic, because inherently it's sort of balanced towards us a bit more.
Oh, the superhero game? Yeah, well, dude. Sure.
Yeah, but okay, so
I would not want to play in a fucking supervillain game with Saxious because first session, well, we didn't defeat the World Conqueror and the world's been destroyed, so that was fun. Yay!
Yeah, 10-foot pole on a big stock of chickens. Yeah.
So again, my games, I sit down, I do a session 1 or session 0, and we agree what it is that we want out of the game. That's really the big one. And again, Eli's been in my game. He's sat and we've discussed it. I put a lot of thought and care into what it is that the group is wanting, and then that is what I cater to. What I'm talking about is the cup. Again, I've been playing and DMing since the age of 9. There's been many times where I've been allowed to where the players went, no, just do what you want. It's like, okay, off I went, and some worked, some didn't. But yeah,
that's what always happens. I mean, not everything will work. I mean, you're, obviously, what you're discussing now is at times where your devilish schemes have worked.
And my goal really is I want everyone to come in and have fun, which is why I have the session 0. If the players sit down and go, you know what, Saxious, do what you would like to do.
Yeah,
I will
unleash hell,
and I will go all in. But at that point, it is a social contract that I am living into that we agree to. Ergo, yeah. I will give you everything: the pain, the blood, the sweat, and a lot of tears. But I would like you to come out feeling that whenever you overcome something, you feel like heroes.
And isn't that what adventuring is meant to be all about when we play these games?
Are you from Software D&D?
He is, yes. Straw Piglet, correct. Do not write a 2-page backstory. But no, it's the whole point of playing these games is to feel challenged, in my opinion. And if you don't feel challenged and you don't have to work for the successes, then the satisfaction you get from the game is lessened. It's cheapened.
Yeah.
So
may I just jump in for a small bit? Iman.
Yes.
Now, in our heroic game, yes, you've been heroic.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that there has been time where I've challenged your heroism?
Yes.
Would you say there's been times where your characters have had to make some choices that's been rather difficult? Talking specifically of you.
Yes.
Would you say that there's been times where there's been conflict caused by what I throw at you, both internal and externally, and you've had to sit down and go, oh dear.
Yes. Thinking on the spot of how to deal with all this that was being thrown at me, that I knew was going to be thrown at me. I wasn't prepared for quite how bad it was going to be. But it was fun.
I just want to clarify. That is what I did with a desk jockey, a pencil pusher.
Yep.
Just someone from Asgard, from the heroic game, who showed up and went, "Hi, you signed up for this. Now you're going to have to follow the rules." And the rules are as follows. And a law-abiding citizen is going to be going, "Oh shit, my friends are not going to like this."
Yep. And I got
you got your ear chewed out by your teammates.
I mean, I was just doing what I thought was the right thing to do. That's all I can say. Not as a player, as a character.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing on that. Everything was in character. Everyone agreed. Everyone had fun. But I would definitely say I gave you a challenge, even though we were playing in a hero game.
I don't know how I managed to even get through that because it was like a real head scratcher. I was like, oh, fuck. How do I not piss people off with this one?
So, for those of you who don't know, what I did was effectively Imam's character. He is a registered superhero. Everyone else in the team is not. And Asgard, knowing at least one of the 3 members of the superhero group, basically showed up and called for Imam's character to show up and basically went, right, you have been seen interacting with non-registered heroes. Ergo, you're going to have to give up some details. We're going to start asking some probing questions. You are going to have to give in some information because we say so. And it's not really much of a... Well, it was a conversation on the surface.
It was more like an interrogation because the more I said, the more that she picked up on and then asked more questions. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah. But again, that's what I did in that. But I do have to give thanks to Bear for giving me some pointers with Asgard.
What did I do?
You gave me pointers with Asgard.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Thanks, Bear. No, seriously, thank you.
No. He was way nicer with his Asgard than I am.
Yeah, I know.
Trust me.
I know. That's the fun part. Like, I know I'm being tame in comparison to what Bear would do, and I think maybe in general speaking, a lot of my rulings are quite pro-player. But that's also because I think it's fair, because I am allowed to do a lot more crap towards the players.
Yeah, one of my groups has learned to fear the name Major McAllister. They don't like her because the first time she gave them 48 hours to get registered. Second time she met them, she's like, boy, it's been 48 hours and you're not registered. If I don't see those registrations within 24 hours, I'm putting out an arrest warrant on you. Done. Like, just done.
I'm not even on that page. The fact that I'm on the page that's the fact that the players have been served by, Imam. That's my interpretation of like the 48 hours have been given. Ergo. Anyway.
Yeah, I assumed the 48 hours was from when she gave me the papers, not when I gave them the papers.
That's where my page is as well, but we'll see how the players interact with that. You've got time. It's fine. Like, you've still got 24 hours.
I'm fine. I haven't done anything wrong. As far as I'm concerned.
It's just Jason who's got to worry and Aaron. But we'll talk about it later.
Anyway,
we're gonna end the topic tonight with environments that you've made up. Anything wild and wacky, anything not of this world and not already in a game system. Have you ever set a scenario in a place that is bonkers?
I did create the Goblin Market in one of my campaigns, which was sort of a pocket dimension under the main city, where it was sort of a night market where you could go get anything. But the logic and rationale there was very much on the nonsensical fairy folk kind of angle. Like they were told to get into a lift and get off at the floor that was marked with the number red. It's just like this kind of like backwards nonsense, and they're like, the number red? What do you mean? And then they're like looking at this board of buttons that are all like different shapes, and some were numbers, some were letters, some were in the shape of animals, and they had to figure it. It was just this whole like nonsensical little pocket world, but they had to go there and deal with these Fey goblins, not goblins, and like try and find the thing that they needed for this adventure. Little pocket dimensions, like demi-plane kind of things. I have a thing in my game, in my game called the Witchwood, which is you could be walking down a path. It's sort of like the demi-planes of Dread, except for it doesn't take you to Ravenloft. You're walking down a path in the forest. The mist rolls in. You find yourself in the Witchwood, which is this little demi-plane subdimension of its own, where you have to find your way out again if you can. So little places like that, I think, are fun. Weird magical environments inside objects. I've done that before.
Because I'm going to admit here, I struggle when things get weird and wacky, particularly when I'm DMing, because I don't have that that grounding to fall back on. I've got two of my players here at the moment for Horror on the Orient Express. There is one chapter in that I haven't inserted in the campaign yet, because I've tried to run it before and it didn't really work for me. And that's one set in the Dreamlands, which is an alternate universe, really, which defies logic, which is meant to be bizarre. And I tried running it when I ran it before, and it didn't gel so much with me. It's just too weird. I may try it at some point. I won't
Harold will be
warn
happy
them.
there.
I won't warn them, but we shall see. We shall see. But that is a concept I struggle with, really struggle with, because
I had a campaign where my players walked across a stream, and they ended up in a pocket dimension which was being run by 3 witches/hags. Each one had a different aspect to it, but they all merged into. So you had the 3, and they just merged into each other across the different areas. So depending which way you went, you ended up in one domain or another. Each had a flavor to it.
that's from the Celtic mythos, isn't it? The idea of the.
It was a mixture of things, really, but yeah.
The original inspiration, though, is the Celtic mythos. The idea of the 3, the mother, the maiden, and the crone.
Well, the mother, if you like, was actually Loreth the Beautiful's mummy. So she wasn't happy when they cut his head off.
Right. Okay. Oh, mummy, as in mother.
As in mother, yes.
I thought I was here with me thinking it was a mummy of.
No. As in mother. So I said witch/hags sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
She had 2 friends with her.
Bear, I have a feeling. I mean, you don't lean so much into the magical and the weird so much, do you? So you're a bit like me in that sense, where things tend to be quite grounded. There's a basis in reality, or.
Well, I just hate high magic. If there's a magic shop in your campaign world, I'm not interested. If there's a price guide for buying magic stuff, I'm not interested. If parts of your world involve magic street lamps and if magic is commonplace, I'm not interested. Because magic should be scary, should be rare, should be mysterious. It should be magic, not a substitute for modern technology to make my game more easy. So now I have a sending stone where I can just send messages to my friend. What the fuck? Play a modern game. Why do you need a fucking iPhone in your D&D? Really, at this point in time, right? But that's me, and I'm very, very picky about my fantasies. So I'm very picky about everything. I'm picky. I'm a picky person.
You know what you want, and you go for it.
I am.
Sorry,
one of the reasons why 5th edition falls apart for me is because it becomes very, very magical.
Same.
Very quickly. And it's all a bit much for me. I'd much rather play a much lower magic game. So I'm with Bear on that one.
Oh
well. Saxious, have you tormented people with your own conjured bizarre worlds?
No, but everything you've heard from me so far is from either existing rulings, like the planes, or it's from existing, environments. Me going out and creating things that I can't really conceptualize is difficult, which is why I stick to what I can research.
It's all the dungeons of Saxious, really, isn't it? I mean, Step into my torture chamber.
I'm just picturing me holding up like one of those like what's it called, like cardboard like things where it's just like this like large German letters like safe word is Schlungenslaffel. It's like
That's just bad dungeon play. Your safe word should never be more than one syllable because you need to be able to say it when you're in trouble. I've been told.
I thought that would be your answer, Elfbait, because I'm aware that you branch out into all sorts of games.
Yeah, I just play whatever I want to play. I don't
have fun.
I don't have a zone that I keep myself into. Though my campaign worlds do tend to default on the lower magic side, but more in the Tolkien-y way, where like there is some high magic out there, but it's rare. At the same time, though, I'm totally happy to play in a very magical world, as long as that's our starting point. I'm not going to go into it going, oh, this is supposed to be low magic, and then suddenly the guy flies in on his flying chariot pulled by 3 gold unicorns with pixie wings, and whatever, blows his horn and 1,000 healing potions fly out into our pockets. If that at that point, I'm no.
No. I get. I mean, that sort of world doesn't appeal to me. I have played in games that have been quite bonkers in that sense, but for me, that sort of game is the sort of thing it's okay occasionally. I won't run that sort of game.
Yeah, I mean, even my Goblin Market idea that I was mentioning before, that was in a pretty otherwise gritty and grounded world. So it was a fun and weird spot in a world that was full of darkness and still had magic and stuff. But it was the whole campaign wasn't like that. It was just one location.
Oh, we lost Andy.
Yeah, I was about to say, where'd Andy go?
Oh,
has he realised it's past his bedtime? I think is that what it is? But okay, right. We have pretty much hammered the topic. We've bounced very quickly between the various locations, and intentionally so, because I think having it as a probing into the depths of Saxious' mind stream has made it. Has made it all the more entertaining. You'll be glad to know, Saxious, that 57%, and there's some odd rounding going on here, but it looks like 10 of our 19 people, 11 of our 19 people who voted have said yes, they would play in your campaign. So there you go. You've got when you choose to run a big game in the future, there's 11 players there ready for you. 12 with me, if you'll let me in. Let me play a goblin.
I do need to free up some of my personal time so I can run more games for your Discord.
Yeah, well, it's adult things, as we said. Adult things are getting in the way of various games at the moment.
I'm running something Saturday night. I don't know what the fuck I'm running, but I need to bounce some goddamn dice.
Yes.
I'm going through withdrawal. Fuck.
I hear that.
One thing we need to discuss at some point is the Fey world. We never got into that.
I never ran in the Fey world because the Fey in themselves are just. I have a hard time understanding the chaotic nature of the Fey and how their minds bounce around.
Exactly. Yep.
I think it's a misnomer that the Fey are chaotic. I think I think a lot of pop culture tries to paint them out as being really chaotic, but most of the folklore, which is kind of how I tend to run my Fey folk, they have rules. They have specific rules and guidelines, things you do and don't do. You can even go with the Seelie and Unseelie court angle if you wanted to.
I think they're chaotic to the human mind. I would say that because it's different.
To my mind, is that D&D turned them into, and not even modern D&D, because this goes all the way back to like AD&D. The fairies, the Fey folk in D&D were the excuse to basically screw with your players. That's what they did. They were the encounter that wasn't a goblin, it wasn't a dragon, it probably wasn't going to kill the players through an outright straight up combat, but it was going to mess with them, it was going to polymorph them, it was going to charm them, it was going to mislead them, and that's why they come across as chaotic. But I mean, they you can play them that way, or you can choose to play them much more like their folkloric origins. I mean, they still come across like John said, to the human mind kind of chaotic, but they themselves have rules.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's a site on YouTube, Black Rat Inn. I'm sure most of you guys probably know it. It's audiobook, and they do a couple of the books from Greyhawk. And what's the one? What's the one module with the mountain? Oh, what the hell?
White Plume Mountain?
Yes. They do White Plume Mountain, Descent to the Depths of the Earth, and something else. But they have a main set of characters, and one of the characters is a pixie. And in part of the book, at least I have never read the book. I only listen to them whenever I go to bed. But they get into the Sealy Court and the Fey Realm and stuff like that, and it's pretty neat. It's fun to listen to.
What's that site called again?
It's Black Rat Inn.
Black Rat Inn.
Yeah, and it's on YouTube, and they're normally like 8 to 10 hours long. It's something cool for like when I'm at work. I put in earbuds, turn it on, and just listen to. And they do all kind. They do Conan and all kinds of stuff, and Forgotten Realms. But the Pixie, they're like the main character is a badass ranger who has a hellhound hide, is a cape, but it's still sentient. And then he runs around with this little pixie, and it's worth listening to. It's entertaining.
Okay. Black Rat Inn. Might be worth popping on at work sometime.
Yeah, they have all kinds of stuff, so it's pretty cool.
The Fae is all about making humans think twice about believing that thinking like a human is in any way superior.
There you go.
I think that's fair. That's fair. The nearest I've got to running a Fae inspired game was simply a Call of Cthulhu scenario that used the Taloth Teg from Welsh folklore, the little people, but it turned them into quite horrific, nasty little beings that would torment humans in very unpleasant ways, as is Call of Cthulhu's Raison d'etre. So, but that was quite a fun scenario. Planti Dire from the Gaslight scenarios that were done for I can't remember which is about 3rd edition Call of Cthulhu. Quite a good collection of adventures. But I think we're about to bring this stream to a close in the next 90 seconds or so. I'm going to say now that I am looking forward to the release of a particular product, and that is finally Chaosium are about to release, well, hopefully over the next couple of months, 7th edition Call of Cthulhu Gaslight.
Ooh, finally.
Ooh.
That's been 5 years in the making.
Yes, yes. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. It's my favourite era for Call of Cthulhu. The smoggy streets of London, Jack the Ripper stalking the alleyways of Whitechapel. That's that sort of imagery.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes, all the struggles, the destitution of late Victorian era England. Yeah, sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Looking forward to that one. So, fellas, those of you who've got channels, now's the time to shill them.
Bear the Gen X GM will be going live in about an hour and talking about role-playing games that I might want to run with anybody who wants to show up and hang out. So if there's a panel, there might be a panel. If there's not a panel, it'll just be me talking to the chat. But that's my channel, Bear Gen X GM. So basically, at Bear Gen X GM in YouTube.
Iman.
I may see you, sir.
Intellectual quandary. I normally stream on Sundays, but I'm getting adjusted to a new work schedule, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I do video game stuff. Check it out if you're interested.
Eli.
Elfbait is the channel. Normally, I stream on Sundays. I did not this last Sunday. And I also run a old school game every other Monday. That also didn't happen this week. Mainly because we had 2 players out. That's just not enough to run the game where we're at. But yeah, and on Sunday I didn't stream because I poisoned myself. But
oops.
Yeah, I poisoned myself with food. But no. Normally it's streaming, talking about gaming and stuff on Sundays, and then I stream a game every other Monday, which is old school Essentials in a Conan-esque kind of setting. We're going on like 7-8 sessions now. Just a couple hours a night. Good group of guys. So
Good stuff. Yeah, it's a good game. It's a good game. Daniel, you don't have a channel, so I will let chat know. You can see Daniel quite often on my Friday night streams, and he plays in a lot of our OSE games we have in our Discord on a Saturday.
I thought about starting one up, that I'm getting back into the shooting sport. So I'm doing 2 skeet shoots and 3 or 4 handgun shoots a month now.
Get into all the other hobbies. I mean,
Yeah.
But I think after this stream tonight, the final word should go with Save versus Saxious, which is now going to be a channel meme. It has to be. It has to be. Saxious.
Hi.
Any final thoughts?
Thoughts on that is make the environment bring out the pain for the players. You don't have to work that hard on the monsters. The environment can do all the legwork for you. Wow, thank you for Hunger, because he's now been a member for 20 months. Wow.
Oh, Hunger.
Oh,
Hungar's lurking.
Thank
you, Hunger.
A good book for inspiration on cold environments. It's a Forgotten Realms book. Ice Warriors, I think it was called.
I think so.
It's a low-level ranger, has to go up to the one glacier and figure out what's going on. Has issues with an ice method and has to make a deal with the gnolls and stuff like that. It's actually a good book. I've read it about 5 times now. But that's a really good one about dealing with the cold environment.
Seraphis is shilling his channel. I have a channel. I should have another video up in the next 24 hours about how complicated this next editing ends up being. Yeah. Been there. Been there.
You missing something, John?
And yeah, I feel really guilty ending the stream about now, Hunger. I am very, very sorry. Thank you for that donation. It's very, very kind of you. But I have to be up for work fairly early in the morning. I'm currently running a busy shop while my fellow shop manager is on holiday. So, yep, I'm back at work, and I've got a very, very busy day ahead of me. So I can't let this stream extend into the wee small hours tonight.
Have a
But
good
thank
night.
you, Hungar.
Have a good night.
Thanks for Saxious. It's been an absolute joy tonight to hear the filth that goes on in your mind. If you're a DM of any form of game out there, listen to this stream back, and you will learn all sorts of foul tricks to subject on your party in all manner of environments. This truly was Saxious' element tonight. But thank you everybody for joining me. Thank you everybody in chat. It's been fun as always. I've got to get to bed.
All right.
Good night.
Cheers, John. Cheers, chat. Love you all.